Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the BJJ Foxcast. I am your host, Alex Martinez, and today the crew is back. Tojo and Steven are back. Say hello, boys.
Yo.
Hello.
They've been on several episodes. I'm not going to introduce it's episode 50. If you want to go back to episode 50, we were hammered on episode 50. Kind of went off the rails, episode 50.
Always good.
Yeah, but Josh saved the day.
He did.
He did save the day. There was a lot of stuff that I'm glad is not on episode 50.
Yeah,
that,
same here.
Yeah. So anyway, so
That's why I don't like Josh.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
Quit censoring me.
Keep censoring him.
You commie.
It was mostly just me, like, drunk and rambling that we just cut out.
There were some
because it got
rants.
There were some rants. It got wild.
Yeah.
So.
Wonderful.
But cheers, boys.
Cheers. With these beautiful Foxcast gloves.
Foxcast glasses made by the beautiful Marlena Vallejo. I almost said Garcia Vallejo. She made beer mugs. Not mugs, but she made beer glasses. She made these glasses for us.
Yep, whiskey glasses.
Yeah, whiskey glasses. So
Those are dope.
really cool, man.
Yep.
Anyway, so my second podcast of the day. First podcast was awesome, so you guys better fucking measure up. That's all I'm saying.
That's all I know how to do.
Yeah. All right. Awesome.
Is rock podcast.
So we had dinner, and conversation over dinner was a little weird. I mean, I say and do some things that I in hindsight I wish I could say or do them better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in this case that we were talking about, I think I did the right thing.
Yeah.
There were things that happened with I don't know how deep you want to go into this, but
I mean, we should definitely vague book it, but
yeah. Why don't you start and I'll just
Well, let me ask you here. Let's just set this up. As a coach and an owner of a gym, what do you think your number one responsibility is?
Safety, athlete safety, number one.
100%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on that note,
Yeah, I know I did the right thing there. I feel good about that.
yeah.
Yeah. I guess if I could go
Safety and comfort, I would say too, because
no,
you don't
so
want your people to be uncomfortable. Like
they go hand in hand,
Yeah.
right?
physically uncomfortable is okay.
There's physical safety and there's emotional safety as well,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So I think the only regret I have is I wish I would have just had all the information so I could react faster.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's something I can regret, but it's something I wish I had. I wish I had all the information, and it would have been swift. It would have been swift.
Uh-huh.
So for those people that were made uncomfortable, I want to say that the issues is resolved, but I'm an open book, so please come see me anytime.
And social media being what it is, people are going to say their side of the story, their stuff. And
Yeah.
It's like, you can't really get around that, but just know that you did whatever you needed to do, or at least what you felt you needed to do.
Yeah.
Right. And move on. And I know a lot of people listening are probably like, what the fuck are they talking about?
That's not. This is not for you.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, like, it's just, one of those things you don't want to, you don't want to name names and do all that kind of stuff and get, go play in the mud. But, you just got to put it out there that, you did what you thought was right. There was no personal vendetta or anything like that.
No, but I'm positive I was right.
Yeah.
I'm positive I did the right thing.
Good.
So I feel good about that.
Yeah, sometimes you have to remove an individual from your school because it just doesn't the scale doesn't weigh out. Keeping this person, even if they're a friend, we've all had friends where you're like, God, he's such a fucking shithead, right? That's you.
Yeah. Yes, I'm your shithead. That's cool. Oh well, you're mine.
Aw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it Valentine's Day?
It's
Is this
almost
Valentine's Day.
So
episode?
so close to Valentine's Day. But anyway, so I don't think it's an issue that's just going to go away, and that's okay. That's okay. I mean, I'm a big boy, got broad shoulders, I can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be a little bit more aware.
Yeah.
Of what happens,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to take action very quickly. And I'd rather err. I'd rather err on the side of caution and be completely wrong than wait.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's because something like this can't wait.
Yeah.
So anyway, so
the whole asking for forgiveness before permission.
Yeah.
That's a luxury that a business owner doesn't have.
We certainly don't.
Right.
And rightfully so, people aren't very understanding when you make those kind of errors. So
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna hurt feelings.
yeah.
you know, and you got to minimize.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
For those who know what the situation is but don't know what happened, trust me, like it's a tough choice that Alex had to make, and I think he did make the right one. Removing this individual, it just wasn't a good fit for anybody. But yeah, it was hard. It was hard, and once I got all the information, it was a lot easier to accept. Yeah, which is like that makes it almost worse. You know, because like you said, you didn't like know it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like you didn't feel like you had the full story, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just like you feel like you're like, am I making a decision off of hearsay?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's not like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this tough decision. Dude, I lose sleep over these things, man. Like it's not my normal to just put the hammer down. It's not. It's just not my normal. So when it comes to it, I want to be right. But like I said, I'll probably be a lot faster. Even if I'm wrong, I'll probably be a lot faster. So
yeah, it's not worth the wait.
No.
You know, like only things can get worse.
Yeah, and now that we've lost all of our listeners, let's move on.
All
right. So coming up, man, we got Master Worlds.
Yep.
And I'm super stoked. Probably the least prepared I've been physically.
So you're gonna win.
I'm gonna win. Mentally, I'm there. I'm good, man. I've been rolling really hard all last week, all this week, and I feel like my mind's right.
Yeah.
Timing's good. We'll just find out, man. We'll find out in the third or fourth match how prepared I am. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's really where it comes down to it. Like last year, I remember being in the bullpen after the first round and thinking, if I have to go again right now, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Luckily, the brackets were so gigantic that I spent like a half an hour in the bullpen. I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah,
you
my
know?
bracket's 71.
Wow. 71 people.
Yeah. Which is like, you know, right now it's like, I mean, most of the reason that I signed up is like, well, I'm already going to be there because I know, you know, you're going to be there. You're competing. Paul's competing. Amy's competing. Kelsey's competing.
John
Kabay's competing. Like, we got a lot of people competing this year.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of people doing the Jiu-Jitsu Con.
Yeah.
Which is basically the same event. They act like it's a different event, but
same venue.
Yeah.
I remember when they first put that in there. It wasn't Jiu-Jitsu Con. It was Vegas Open.
And well, they had the Vegas Open a long time ago.
No, but they had it in the same venue.
Oh.
As a Master Worlds. Remember, we had two Vegas Opens. It was spring and winter, or whatever it was, spring and fall. Yeah. And then they moved it to, before Jiu-Jitsu Con, they had it in the same venue as Master Worlds. And it was the craziest thing because people were getting disqualified because we had mats 1 through 24 and they had mats 1 through 12.
So people are showing up to the wrong,
the wrong bullpen, the wrong everything, and they're getting DQ'd. It's like, numbers are infinite.
Yeah.
Like, number it's something different. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah. So, I mean,
they should use colors.
You're on matte purple. Yeah, so, you know, we were talking about this at dinner as well, and I don't mind saying it out loud. Like, you know, Master Worlds was like our escape, you know, because we spent so much time coaching. I wasn't an owner up until 3 years ago, but we've had Jiu-Jitsu Con every one of those years.
Yeah.
But before Jiu-Jitsu Con, it was like we go to Master Worlds and we don't have any responsibilities other than to each other.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you know, you and I were blue belts, purple belts together. I think I got my brown belt slightly before you did or something. But all we had to do was coach each other and hang out and do our thing. But now, like, the added responsibility of Jiu-Jitsu Con, I hate to say it, I hate to say it's a bummer. It's cool that the students are traveling to compete, but gosh, I miss that break.
They should just do the Jiu-Jitsu Con, because first of all, like, the Jiu-Jitsu Con is really cool.
It really is. Yeah.
Like, they have like, it's, when I say vendors, it's not like when you go to like a local tournament or even the IBJJF local-ish tournaments, whatever, you know, they're smaller tournaments, right? Yeah. But you'll have like a booth with like shirts or something like that, or maybe an acai vendor or something like that.
Yeah.
No. This is like a real convention where they have, like, you know, all the gi companies, tape companies, supplement companies. Like, they have all sorts of shit there, and it's really cool.
Yeah. And they have like the Alliance booth or the Gracie Baja booth, or their this or that booth, and the Atos booth.
Yep.
And there's just like legends are just sitting there bullshitting, meeting people, and having acai with everybody.
And they have the seminars that they're doing.
Yeah. Did you see the Marcelo Garcia seminar?
Oh, is he?
So Marcelo's not doing it, but Danaher's putting it together. Gordon Ryan.
Who are these people?
I'm blanking right now. Yeah, Gordon Ryan's going to be doing it. The guy who does BJJ Fanatics
is like a fundraiser for him, or is
yes.
it? Okay.
Yes. So every penny's going to go to Marcelo Garcia's fight. He's fighting cancer.
Yeah, stomach cancer.
And if you don't know who Marcelo is, I need you to leave the room. I'm just kidding. No. For those of you who don't know who Marcelo is, if you're too new, if you're very new to the sport, just look him up, man. ADCC legend, IBJJF legend, a phenomenal person. He basically he spreads jiu-jitsu like the gospel throughout the country, man, and super great guy. I met him in 2015 in New York, and he couldn't have been more gracious. I was geeking the fuck out, man. But he was really nice.
At Fight Ready here
in town. Yeah, we went to that one.
I don't remember how that was. Probably 5 years ago now.
And anyway, he's fighting cancer. I don't know how bad it is because he's a very private person, but
maybe he's got good cancer.
Maybe, who knows? Like, I mean, there's always like one to get, right? The ones that they can treat.
Stomach cancer sounds awful.
Yeah. Is that what it is? Stomach cancer? Yeah. So
as far as I recall reading, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments.
Oh, we catch hate no matter what. Hey, I like bananas. You son of a bitch. What about all the apples in the world?
Doesn't like bananas.
What about all the apples?
I take big bites of bananas.
Are you one of those weirdos that peels it completely and then holds the bare banana?
That's fucking weird.
That's fucking weird.
It comes with a wrapper.
Yes.
That's what it's for.
Yeah.
What was that? Was that my phone?
Yeah.
Oh, I do have it on Do Not Disturb, but Amy gets to she gets to text me whenever I want.
She gets to disturb you?
Yeah, she gets to disturb. So looking forward to that, man. I definitely want to see if I can take part in that. I don't know. We have things going on all day, every day, and the day I compete, I'm just kind of going to my shell.
I think that stuff is more for the people who are coming with their friends, those who aren't competing, because it's just, like, it is so exhausting. Like, when you're competing, like, not even the competing part. It's just like, okay, am I on weight? I'm on weight. Okay,
right,
good.
Yeah.
All right. Am I warm? Oh, I'm cooling down. I need to, it's like that is all day long. And then if you throw in the coaching stuff on top of that, like it is exhausting. It's surprising how much energy that takes, like mental energy, physical energy, all of it.
Yeah. And I mean, there's also an opportunity to donate.
Yeah.
You can't make the seminar, just donate some money.
Yeah.
Everything counts, man. There's gonna be 10,000 people at that place. If everybody donates $5, that's a pretty good day.
Yeah.
Right? That's a pretty good day. So donate the $5, $10, whatever you can.
I was wondering if you're gonna do the math.
I did it, but I don't like doing math.
It sounds like the jiu-jitsu count and all that stuff is like a good bonus in terms of probably like generating revenue for
100%.
IBJJF or for the
100%,
venue and everything. So it probably sounds like it was like something they added to like make up the cost difference, but it's kind of unfortunate that it's not just like a weekend of all colored belts, like adults, but adult color belts.
Think of it this way. There's proof that it's a good product.
Yeah.
Because it grows every single year.
Yeah.
And 10,000 competitors, excuse me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they have 10,000 competitors, and it's sold out. They're doing a good job.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job. This is all selfish. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
100% selfish. But to be able to just focus on, one tournament, one tournament per year, I mean, I think that's a good day.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, man.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it grows every year. But I mean, last year was huge, right? But for how big it is, I mean, the venue's gigantic, right? It's a huge venue, and even with all the vendors and all the mats and everything, I thought it was ran pretty well last year. I thought the only thing that I would kind of complain about is the way that they did the coaching stands is kind of weird. They had like this like little row between like the barrier and the mats that wasn't on the athlete's side.
Right.
So you couldn't talk to your athlete before or after their match.
Yep.
Which is kind of like, you kind of want to give that pep talk.
One way in, one way out.
Or give them, some feedback for the next match if like they made a mistake but still won.
Yeah.
Like that happened to Amy.
Yep.
Like if I 100% think if we would have been able to talk to her after her first match, she would have won her second.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just something we're going to have to do.
Yeah.
We're going to have to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
it depends what they do this year, right?
Yeah.
We don't know.
honestly, like, I think our athletes, the level of athlete that we're taking, doesn't need a lot of coaching during.
Sure.
I think the coaching that they need is before and after.
Yeah.
Right after the match. Hey, you missed this, you missed that. Make sure this, make sure that. I saw the person do this or that. That's the coaching that they need, not the paragraphs that you're trying to yell, at the person while they're wrong. So I think, if we can be there for the first match, we can watch what she's doing, and then kind of give her some notes after.
Yeah,
I think that'll be good. And if we can get back in, great. If not, that's just the way it is.
But if Amy would have been able to say like, "Hey, she said she's prepared for my takedowns," we said, "So fucking what?
So fucking what?
That's your takedown. Take her down."
Yep.
Like if she wouldn't have been able to get in her head like that, she would have dragged that chick to the ground. For sure.
That was the time. That was when she was going to collar drag and didn't, right? Even though she'd been working on it.
Yeah. It was not the best effort on the collar drag.
But I mean, like you were saying though, like the whole paragraphs thing. It's like you're not going to learn anything. Like I can't teach you a technique like coaching you in a tournament.
Right.
Right. That's not the goal of a coach at a tournament. Right. It's
right.
I think a lot of that comes down to like, either confirmation or like, hey, you made this mistake, like pointing out the mistakes and making sure that they realize the mistakes that they made so that they can be cognizant of those moving forward. Like little corrections, but you're not making big changes. You're like, oh, here, let me teach you how to berimbolo right now.
Right.
It's nothing like that.
That's
right?
not going to happen.
No. And like I said, like I think the direction a lot of times, like sometimes people just need like that affirmation.
Yes.
Like that I'm doing the right thing.
I know I do.
Yeah.
I know I do. If somebody tells me, hey, you're kind of tentative in your approach, okay, then I got to step it up. Or, hey, you were like a little bit too wild on that shot.
Yeah.
That helps me. I don't need to hear like, oh, go into this and then, transition to that and then do this when he does that. I don't need all that shit. It's just in the moment, just, read and react. But it does help me when somebody comes up to me and goes, hey, the guy you're about to fight just lifted someone, put him parallel, and then slammed the fuck out of him on the ground. Okay, I'm pulling guard. Right? I mean, that's good coaching. That helps, right? Because I don't want to say I'm the worst because there's got to be somebody worse than me at defending takedowns, but I'm not great at it.
Yeah.
Right? So, there's things like that will certainly help.
Yeah.
The other thing is the other thing that I really liked was all of the artwork last year. I think they fucking killed it with the artwork.
Yeah, especially so like there was that big mural for Leandro Lowe because last year was like just after he was murdered.
Yeah,
which was that's a big hit to the jiu-jitsu community, right, as a whole. And they did a really good, in my opinion, they did a really tasteful kind of like send off. I guess.
It's beautiful.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, at Worlds this year. I got choked up, but they did a tribute to Leandro Lowe. They announced like the top 10 black belts, and they go to the mat before the thing starts, and that was cool. And then Leandro Lowe's family went out there and received an award, and as the person, I can't remember who it is. It's I can't remember who it is, but anyway, big wig, on the mat is given the award. They're having this moment, right? Not cameras, microphones, they're just talking, just three people talking on the mat.
Yeah.
And then the whole crowd starts chanting Leandro. Leandro. It was wild, dude. It was like gave me chills.
Yeah.
And I thought, I thought that was very, very tasteful of IBJJF and the crowd to give them that kind of, I hate to call it a send off, but that's kind of what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, it's good to do stuff like that. I mean, it just shows like how impactful that person was.
Yeah.
As a person.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my man crush.
Among many.
Among many. That was one of my men crushes.
Men crushes?
Men crushes. But yeah, so looking forward to getting out there. Can't wait, man. Can't wait to feel that atmosphere.
Yeah. It'll be the first time I've ever done Worlds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've done Pans a bunch. Haven't done Worlds.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Well, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
You've been there before.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah. I mean, you might, this might speak to you a little bit too. Like a lot of like the opens, like the Phoenix Open, the San Diego Open, the Chicago Open, whatever open it is. As a Masters athlete, sometimes you go out there and there's one other guy with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So there's so many people that, like, you don't really get, as a Masters athlete, it's kind of hard to get those matches, right? Like, especially like at the smaller tournaments. And then you have Master Worlds. Like I said, I have 71 people in my bracket, right?
Like, yeah, that's good times, man.
Yeah, it's like the one tournament a year where all the Masters guys are like, all right, guys, you guys game?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah,
you know, and that's what's like kind of cool about it, and it's exciting to be a part of that. You know,
I got to be honest, kind of missed the days when it was like 4 people. Back Master Seniors Worlds,
it was a little easier.
Yeah, Master Seniors Worlds, nobody really cared about it. Everybody was like all about the World Championships, you know, the adult worlds. And I really love, I joke, but I mean, I'm joking, obviously, but I really love that, you know, Masters athletes can now get like ready for a real war, man.
Yeah.
I mean, last year it was like 4 to just get into the tournament.
Yeah. Yeah. Before you're like even like in those like semi-qualifying rounds.
Yeah. I like walking out there and you read 3rd qualifier. You're like, fuck. There's 2 more.
Jesus.
So, yeah.
So did they change the format like every year? Is it, or have they just been making adjustments to it? So like last year there was a qualifier just to get into the tournament.
No, when I say get into the tournament, actually like have an opportunity to get to the podium.
Okay. Yeah. Did they change the format last year? So you were talking about getting into
the format's never been changed per se. Like it's always all the IBJJF tournaments run like IBJJF tournaments.
Yeah.
Right?
So what I mean by to win 3 or 4 to get into the tournament is I consider the tournament the podium.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to win first qualifier. If you're out, you don't even podium. You're gone. Second qualifier, same thing. Third qualifier, same thing. Quarterfinal, same thing. And then you get into the semifinal. Now you're on the podium. Once you get into the semis, because they do 2 third places. So win or lose, you're on the podium. Right. And then you can advance to the final, and then that's where they get first and second. So I always say, like, just to get into the tournament, you got to win 4. Right.
Are they doing the thing this year where they're going to have points assigned to IBJJF events so that you can?
They do it every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was because we talked about that change last time, where you said there were people that just didn't belong there because that was the only turn they were going to.
They only do that for adults.
But not Masters?
Not Masters.
Yeah, we don't have to qualify to get in.
Okay.
Adults
but
do.
adults do.
Yeah, adults have to qualify.
So we still have that same issue where it's like there's a lot of chaff in there.
Yeah, I think you're getting mixed up between qualifying for the tournament versus like the qualifying rounds. Like,
but I think Steven's referring to my rant about, you know, maybe people don't belong there that are signing up for Masters World just because they can.
Hey, I feel attacked.
Well, you should.
Mr. 1 point here.
I do have a point.
But no, the thing is, we'll get like, I guess that may have been a poor choice of words because people compete in other stuff, not necessarily just IBJJF, right? So they are getting competition rounds. They're just not accumulating points to IBJJF. But there are some people who just sign up for the biggest tournament of the year, and that's the only one they do. And that's that, in my opinion, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to be prepared mentally if you're not even well. Just like you said, there's other things that are going on. Like we could do our in-state tournaments, and I think if you're a Masters athlete doing those in-state tournaments, you're getting prepared for Master Worlds.
Agreed. Yeah.
You know, because I've done, you know, opens like IBJJF opens, and I've done in-state tournaments. Feels the same to me.
Well, the only difference is like when I go out and do the Houston Open, I'm preparing for Master Worlds. When I do the Phoenix Open, I'm not preparing for Master Worlds because you're not sleeping in your own bed. You know, you've got to find that place to get your food. You got to, you know, figure out how you're going to rest and when you're going to get to the venue and all that stuff.
The stress of travel.
The stress of travel, and that's really that, in my opinion, is the real preparation for Master Worlds.
Sure.
Getting out there and doing, you know, other events.
I almost consider like any Vegas tournament local.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's not a bad drive.
It's not terrible, but you're not in your own bed. You know what I mean?
I love sleeping in hotels.
Do you really?
Yeah, you put that AC at like 50.
Yeah, you cheap bastard. What do you keep your AC at your house?
76.
Okay, that's not bad.
77, and then at night I'll put it down to 75.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I keep mine at 80, and then I put it down to 75 at night.
That's hot, man. Yeah, I get it 75 at all times.
I mean, your kitchen is always like freezing.
Well, yeah, my thermostat's up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got so many levels to your house.
Yeah.
It's
yeah. Yeah, no, my house doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
This mansion that he lives in.
Whatever.
People don't know because they haven't been here, but
it's
Alex
the Foxcast mansion, actually.
It is not.
People don't know that the
Foxcast
Foxcast actually pays millions of dollars to Alex. So he has a gigantic mansion. He has horses because he's a horse guy.
He's a horse guy.
I have horses.
Provided by BioPro.
Yeah. Thank you, BioPro. Thank you, BioPro. Yeah, we got a sponsor, man. BioPro. I want to talk about them just for a second. I ordered their Core to Sleep again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for that because that stuff works, dude. I don't know. It
does.
So I talked to the owner. His name's Dustin, and Dustin was telling me, just stuff, right? But like, I just said, I'd love to come out and see your facility. He was like, well, you can't come into our facility, but I can show you like the lobby.
Yeah, it's top secret.
Yeah. So so for those people that don't know, I mean, this thing is like, it has some, anti-aging properties. It helps with metabolism. I really believe that it's helping me with my metabolism because I was struggling to get my weight below, I hovered around 186 to 189. And then I started taking this stuff and my last meal is like 10:30 at night because I'm teaching all day and then I'm closing the academy. And then this asshole makes me wait to go out to dinner. And then,
what?
And then by the time we eat, it's 9:30, 10 o'clock, something like that. Get home, shower, sleep. And dude, I've lost like 10 pounds since I started taking it.
Yeah.
And I'm not really changing a whole lot. I'm eating the same stuff, but it's doing something to my metabolism. And
the sleep stuff?
Oh, well, but I take a day and a night one.
Okay.
So it is helping. I don't know about the immunity piece. I haven't really, I guess I haven't gotten sick, right? But,
I haven't gotten sick since I started taking.
Yeah. So there's a lot of benefits to it. And if you guys are not believers, just give it a try, man.
Yeah.
Just give it a try. Give it 2 solid weeks. Remember, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Give it 2 solid weeks. Did you start feeling any different?
Yeah, I've noticed a big difference on. So the way I've described it is like, so I do it day and night usually. Sometimes I won't take the night because it'll make me a little groggy in the morning.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of depends. But usually I do the day and the night. And I mean, I noticed a difference in that like my body I've always been like I'm in pretty good shape, right? I'm like well conditioned from training and everything.
Yeah.
But it's like it took my body from being like a Mercedes to being a Ferrari.
Yeah,
that's how it
yeah.
feels. It's like I've got a lot more energy on the mats, and the biggest thing I noticed though is my recovery is really good.
Yeah.
Like when I don't use it, I feel like I recover slower. My energy recovers slower, and even injuries. Like I don't even if I have like a really hard training session, I don't have a lot of long-term injury that I've noticed from it. Like I feel like I recover fast.
Yep. Code Foxcast, you get like 30% off, I think, something like that.
You get $30 off.
$30 off.
10% off.
10% off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the cost of this?
I don't know.
It's $300 for. So I think
that's right.
I think the sleep is cheaper.
Sleep is $99. The daytime is $300, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they have other stuff. They have another thing.
How much are you getting? Are you getting a month's worth? Or are you getting,
you get a month's worth.
Yeah, a month's worth.
So it's like $400 a month if you want the whole.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah,
but if you use code Foxcast, you save $30.
You save $30,
and you support the podcast. But yeah, so it's like I mean, it definitely is like. I mean, obviously it's pricey.
Mm.
Like I couldn't afford to take it if it wasn't a sponsor.
Right.
But at the same time, like if I could afford to take it, I would do it.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
I'm like, let's keep the sponsorship because at the very least, I'm loving taking the product and
yeah,
it's all good press and everything.
Well, and another thing I like about the company is they don't work with anybody that doesn't take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of cool. Like if you're not taking it, that they just cut ties. But and some people will do that. I mean, they have their other supplements of choice. Some come from Mexico. I'm just saying.
The real supplements.
Yeah, but no, Dustin's been good to us. So
I think it's worth trying. I mean, like I was a little nervous taking it at first because I'll be 34 in 2 weeks, and so like I probably have testosterone loss. Like I know that some of the stats show that's like after 18 it like halves, pretty rapidly. So it's like I probably could use it, but when it comes to like HGH and like all those things that are usually replaced, I think, with like steroids or other kind of injections and stuff. I was like a little nervous to be messing with any of that, but yeah. I mean, I tried it and it's all natural. Like that's the thing. It's just, it's all natural ingredients that it just boosts your natural endogenous HGH and hormones.
Yeah. And it's sublingual. So it's not like you're shooting, it
just
yourself.
goes
all natural always makes me laugh.
I know it does.
Arsenic is natural.
Arsenic is natural.
And you can have a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Just not a lot.
Yeah. Anyway,
So,
and
BioPro.
End of commercial. What else? We were talking about Master Worlds. Yeah, trip is short. I'm kind of leery about flying. Not that I think it's unsafe. I just think they're not doing a good fucking job.
It's such a fucking nightmare, and especially right now. Like, so Kelsey and I went to New Orleans. What was that? A month ago? 2 months ago? And fuck, man, we were doing the New Orleans Open, and there was also the same weekend was the Austin Open. We had a flight to New Orleans, but it had a stop in Austin, and we almost had a flight, like, because our first flight got delayed, and we were almost not able to make our second flight.
Oh no!
And we're like, we should have just fucking done the Austin Open.
Yeah,
because then we just had the one-way flight to Austin, and no worries.
Yeah,
if we show up late because it's the night before, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. And it's just like, and that's what I'm noticing right now is like there are so many delayed flights, canceled flights.
Yeah,
it's like what
it's
a fucking
really
nightmare.
bad. It's really bad. Yeah,
especially with how much you pay to fly.
Yeah, and how little you get.
Yeah,
you remember like back in the day when people like would dress up to go flight.
Do you remember back in the day when you used to get meals?
Yeah.
Yes.
They give you like a fucking bag of pretzels.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
If you're awake.
Pretzels. Yeah.
Used to be able to smoke cigarettes on a plane.
Man, those were the days.
Those were the days. Drink your whiskey.
You know you're on an old plane when they have the little like
the
ashtray on your...
You can still do cocaine though.
Yeah.
You can do coke on the plane.
But you can't smoke your fucking vape pen. Keep your vape pen.
No.
Those are
Get
bad.
that fucking thing out of here. But I'm going to bump lines off this table.
Run rails like an adult. Oh, my God.
Like a true businessman.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. But, yeah, so flying sucks. And then I think flying into, I hate to call Vegas a small airport, but it's
a tiny airport.
Yeah, it's a small airport.
Yeah.
I think it makes it worse. I think the likelihood of flights getting canceled goes up the smaller the airport.
See, I would disagree because I think it's more of a destination. I feel like there's a lot of people trying to fly to Vegas.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Even though it is a small airport.
It's a go like a go in for a day, get out kind of thing. So it's definitely a destination, but it's not one that you want to stay in very long.
Wish we could, man. I'm good for 2 days, and then I want to come home.
Yeah, I'm about the same for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, well, honestly, like even at this point, I've gone so many times because we've had like years of the Vegas Open and like all the Masters tournaments was there. Like a lot of stuff has been in Vegas, and it's like plus I used lots of rock climbing outside of Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been to Vegas more times than I can count.
Yeah,
so it's just like there's nothing I need to see here.
No. Well, last time was kind of fun because Kelsey had never been.
Yeah.
So we just kind of walked a lot. Yeah. We're talking like 40,000 steps, I think, one night I had.
Yeah. And then almost got in a fight.
Did not almost get in a fight.
Did we ever talk about that on here?
We did talk about it.
Good.
Yeah.
Anybody want to hear it again?
We talked our way out of a
good
fight.
Story.
Is what we did. We talked our way out of it.
My favorite part about that, it was like after everyone was like, okay, we're not going to fight. We had to all go the same direction because we're walking down this like it's like if they were it's like a block party street. Like it's like there's no cars on this street.
Right.
It's just this wide like walkway with a bunch of like restaurants and bars and shit, and we're just walking down it, and we're like, we were already all heading in the same direction.
Yeah. Quit following us. We're just getting ice cream. But it's like that walkway, like between like the Harrah's and
that's where the big Ferris wheel thing is.
At the end, that's where there's a walkway. It's kind of cool because it looks like a little city. You know, it's almost like you would see at Disney. You know what I mean? They have that little town, and they have little restaurants there, and they have an ice cream place that we go to. And Amy wanted to go real bad, and Amy almost got us into a fight because of ice cream.
It's really her fault.
It is really her fault.
Yeah. So anyway, so Master Worlds, and then I'm really considering doing Nogi Pans.
Yeah.
End of September. It's in Dallas. I get to see my brother, and then go get into a fight.
In Dallas?
Well, it's like I think it's Dallas, city of Dallas. It's like north.
Well, it's outside of Dallas, right?
Yeah, it's like the north side of Dallas. My brother lives in Waxahachie, which is like, I had no idea it was like 40 minutes from the venue.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool. Like there's like, you get there, there's like a loop, you get to the top of the loop, one exit, and you're there.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad.
I thought the highway system was a fucking nightmare.
Oh, have you seen a map of Dallas?
No.
It's like loop, 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 loop.
It's a bunch of loops.
A bunch of fucking loops on top. It looks like a spider web.
Yeah.
Their highway system looks like a spider web around Dallas.
Yeah, because when we went to visit Kelsey's family in northern Louisiana in West Monroe, you can fly into West Monroe, but you have to like fly somewhere else and then take this tiny little plane there that costs just as much as the flight to wherever.
Yeah.
So we'd end up just driving to or flying to Dallas and then taking a rental car and driving 4 hours to West Monroe.
Oh my God.
But
that sounds awful.
Yeah, it was disgusting. And I mean, the nice part about that drive is it's country roads. So you fucking just go as fast as you want.
Yep.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious. Where like cops like to hide.
It's just you and drug runners. I mean, what could go wrong?
Fuck it.
So you've described Masters Worlds before as like kind of, it's like your Super Bowl. It's your one thing that you care about winning.
Jiu-Jitsu Christmas, yeah.
With as busy as like, with everything that you've been through in the last, like with this year, like you've been under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, like you've had a lot going on as a business owner. How have you like balanced your kind of like your desire to win, which I think like, as you described before, it's like kind of the only thing you care about. Like you just care about winning Master Worlds. How do you balance that with like kind of the reality of the situation you're in running the academy and not having necessarily like, do you feel like you've had adequate time to train? Do you feel like you could have like that you've had to temper your own expectations about what you want to accomplish?
So that's there's a lot of layers to that.
Yeah,
So
thanks a lot for asking a real question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I love it. No, that's a great question, man. So I went through a dissolved business partnership, and then I had 3 coaches leave the academy just shortly after, and then a bunch of students leave, and that whole everybody that owns an academy knows exactly what I'm going through. It's a transitional.
I can't wait to hear what the
phase.
Insta guy has to say about it, though.
Who's that?
Any guy on Instagram.
Oh yeah, because they know everything.
Whoever you are.
Yeah. So
the purple belt from Omaha.
So we should do a shit on the comments section again.
You say that every time.
Yeah, I know, but I don't take the time to fucking read them or much less
Exactly,
write them down,
that's the
so.
problem. I don't want to give. I know Tojo's in there all the time.
Yeah,
that's all he
so
does. He wakes up in the morning.
Every time I try to prod one of the bears, they just fucking go back into hibernation.
I know.
Like
Yeah,
the
they
bitches
run
they are.
away.
I love
like the bitches they are.
I love the guys that are like private account, no followers, and all they do is talk shit. No
the
photo.
picture's like a cartoon.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, but God bless you.
Or their
whatever.
dog or something.
Yeah. So anyway, so I went from teaching 3 classes a week to 6 a day, 5-6 a day. So the first thing that went through my mind is like, okay, my coaches have left. Several coaches have left. If I get injured, I'm screwed. So I can't get injured. So I went through this phase where I was just afraid to train.
Yeah.
So I was literally not training. I would weight lift, and I would do teach, right? But I was like, I can't risk it. And then finally I was talking to Amy, and Amy and I, just decided we're just not going to live in fear. If it happens, okay, we'll deal with it. Right. And I think what helped me a lot was a conversation I had with Andrew and Leslie Gardenier on the podcast. Right when that was happening, we had them on the podcast, and it was Amy and and them two here. And I asked them the question. I don't know why I asked the question, but I said, when did you go like all in? Because they had different jobs, and they were Andrew's goal, obviously, because he's an lifelong athlete, played basketball at a high level and all that stuff. And so this was his goal, right? He was working at Red Lobster until he got his black belt, and that was going to be his thing. He was going to open a jiu-jitsu academy. Well, Leslie had a job, right? That's where their insurance came from, stuff like that. And then he tore his ACL. A fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Right? After you open an academy, you tear your ACL. And he said that's the day they went all in.
They just didn't have a choice.
They didn't have a choice. Yeah. And I'm thinking like, okay, like if they can do it, I can do it. Right? We can do it. Amy and I can do it.
Right.
Right? And that's just the way I look at it. So I went back to training. And then other things would happen and it'd get in my head, So I was like, okay, I got to get that out of my head. I can't live in fear, right? Mm-hmm. And because that's the easy thing, right? Okay, I'm afraid, so I'm going to stop, right?
Right.
I think I would be so disappointed in myself if we were sitting here and he's going to Master Worlds and I'm not. I would have been really disappointed in myself, and I can't let that happen. So as far as like my expectations, I haven't tempered shit. Like I'm going to go out there to win. I'm not there. I'm not there because I'm glad to be there. I'm not there because my teammates are going and I want to support them. No, I want to go fucking win. And I think that's just how I hate to. This is going to sound stupid, but that's just how winners think, right?
Yeah.
Why not me? Why can't I win?
Right.
Why not? Right.
Yeah.
Somebody else did it. Why can't I do it?
Mm-hmm.
Have I gotten as much training as I can? This is probably the least prepared I've ever been. Physically, mentally, I'm good.
Right.
I'm better than good. So I feel like I can pull it off. And when I do, it's gonna be fucking awesome. And literally, like what's fueling me right now is there's people out there that wanted me to fail in business. There's people that wanted me to fail as a coach. There's people who wanted me to stop training, and I'm going to shove it right in their fucking face when I'm done.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I think that's one of the difficult, like probably the most difficult thing about being an entrepreneur. I personally think that being an entrepreneur and a business owner, a lot of it is it's kind of who's left, not who's best.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really about your ability to stay calm through chaos and be patient while things work themselves out and endure. Yeah. I mean, like my business has been like really struggling this year. Like we've lost clients. I mean, in this quarter alone, I'm down 11,000 in revenue, and like,
wow.
We're going to be like, we're taking on like, like business loans and stuff to keep us afloat, because we know we have the income coming in a year.
Yeah.
Well, we got to make up the next like 6 months.
Yeah.
And there have been so many days where I've just had to be like, I've done the one thing I can to move the ball forward, and now I just have to wait.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like a little bit is like I'm waiting and hoping nothing like terrible happens, you know, in a way. But it's like just being able to endure and just stay focused and not give up, because like it's, you know, like sometimes it takes time for like funding to go through. And so you're just like, okay, I've done everything I can. And then I usually just go train because I'm like, I can't do anything else. I'm just going to go train and like, and work through it. But I do think, we know a couple of business owners and entrepreneurs. I mean, Tom and Tiffany are a good example of that. They've spent so much time trying to find the right place for their new business.
Gosh, they've gone through hell doing that. Yeah.
It's a lot of it is like Elon Musk puts it really well, where he says that he quotes another person where he says, running a company is like staring into the abyss and eating glass at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a distillation of all the worst parts of the thing that you're most passionate about that you have to deal with constantly.
Sure.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just your ability to jump through hoops, stay patient, recognize that like it's a slow process to get to where you want to go, and keep your goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I think you need to like remember when you start like starting to doubt like that process, I think, is like, it's not like owning like a retail shop or something like that, where like, you know, no one gives a shit if you succeed or fail.
Right.
Right. When you have a school, especially because you have coaches and students who are very capable of like helping out.
Yeah. Oh,
you
for
know?
sure.
Like,
yeah.
so say like you were to blow out your ACL or something. Yeah, that would suck, right? Yeah, you're going to have that first like week of like, you know, anybody who's had like a real injury like that like knows you kind of like, you go through like all the stages of grief.
Yeah.
Right. Where you're depressed, you're angry, denial. Like you're like, oh, this isn't that bad. You know, you go through all those stages, all that stuff. Right. But like when he comes down to it, it's like nobody at the school is like, oh, coach is hurt. Fuck this. I'm out. Yeah.
You know what? And it's been a great lesson. Number one, I realized that, you know, I set the tone.
Yeah.
So I got to come in with the right attitude. And sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm
like,
guilty of that.
Like, do you remember when Paul had his heart attack?
Yeah.
I remember thinking like, are we going to have a school?
Yeah.
You know, but everyone just like came together.
Yeah.
You
just rallied.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that would happen at your school or any others, you know, at least semi-successful school. Like your students are going to come together and help make that work. Yeah.
They rallied, you know, a lot of my students rallied. It was really cool. A lot of them, some of them fled, which is fine. But I had a conversation with my mom, and my mom's like super religious. Like, you know, everything, you know, is about that.
Does she call you mijo?
Always. Yeah. It's mijito. Thank you very much. But you know, she told me that something that made me feel really good about people leaving. And she said, you know, God is making room for the right people to come in. He's getting rid of the wrong people so the right people come in. And I'm telling you, man, some of the people that walked through those doors have been amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, dude. It's been, and it just makes me smile, you know, because she's right. You know what I mean? And it's been such a great lesson in, you know, who's really on your side and who's not.
Yes. Yeah.
And man, I feel so relieved. You know?
I mean, but I mean, it's not even like so I was just at Kabay's promotion this weekend. And like right off of like maybe a block down the street, there's like a Gracie school or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And I was just thinking, it's like, I think a lot of people would see that and be like, oh, that's direct competition. But the reality is like the way Kabay runs his school is different than the way that you run your school or Paul or Cashenio or whoever, right? Like there's different people want different things from their school, and every school isn't going to be the perfect fit for everybody.
Right.
So like just because like it's easy to say like anybody who left wasn't, you know, a true, you know, someone who is really dedicated to this or whatever, you know, like whatever, like, you know, fuck them kind of thing. But like, you know, I don't even think that's necessary. There is definitely some of that, right?
There's some of that, not all of it. No, there's some people that left, and I get it. I understand why.
Yeah.
Some people were very gracious and, you know, and had a conversation with me, and others didn't.
Yeah.
It's the ones that didn't.
Like, I know you and I have talked about this, about certain people, and you're like, you know, I just want them to go somewhere where they're happy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that, I think there's a lot of people who are like, they're not going to get what they want from here. You know? And it is the better option for them to leave. As much as I want, you know, to keep my student count up or keep my, you know, what it comes down to, it's a business, right? You need the revenue.
Yeah.
But like, it's more important is like you're creating, you know, lifelong friendships. Even like, how many people do we know that don't train with us? They're not even part of Aries, right? They're not even part of our same jiu-jitsu organization that we know and will be friends with forever.
Oh, for sure. How great was our conversation with Nate the other day?
Yeah.
Like, that was cool.
Yeah, and he hasn't trained in a long time, right? And it's just like, oh, we're all still homies. Yeah.
And that's something that Mamelin told me years ago. I think he was a purple belt and I was a blue belt when we had this conversation. It was at the Double Barrel Bar in Vegas.
Yeah.
And you know,
always at a bar.
And we were talking about like people leaving, you know, because you know, I think Paul had a bunch of people leave and went to Gustavo's and they went other places, you know, and I was like, I just can't imagine like leaving like Paul, like that doesn't even like compute in my brain.
Yeah.
And then Matt said, dude, people's needs change.
Yeah.
Like that's just a reality. Like, and he told me, he's like, I left Gustavo to come to Paul because my needs changed. And that really changed my perspective on stuff. So that's why when people were leaving, I'm like, yeah, hey, good on you, man. You know, I hope you find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's best not to like get all like, you know, fuck them, you know.
No,
they owe me their loyalty, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I hope I don't come across like that because I that's not what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean? Like, because a lot of times those people come back.
Yeah.
Because they think the grass is greener and they go find out it's not.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever, you know, that maybe they go find somewhere and it's fucking perfect for them. Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I can't fault them for that.
Because we've had friends leave Paul's and go to other schools and they're still friends.
Yep.
You know, just because they're in a different team doesn't mean they're our enemy. Like that's not
how I function. Yeah.
It's not how this works, right? Yeah. And the first time I got that feel, well, I don't know specifically when, but like when I, especially like white belt, blue belt, when we were traveling, we were all traveling a lot for tournaments back then, right?
Yeah.
And I would see Paul just knows all these black belts, you know.
Yeah.
You know? And he's just like, oh, hey, what's up, brother? You know, and it was just like from other states, you know, other countries. You know, I thought that was really cool because, like, I think when I was a white belt, I very much thought that, like, this is our team.
Right. Yeah.
Fuck everyone else. You know, and then you realize that, like, no, this is the jiu-jitsu team, right?
Yeah.
We're all, like, here just enjoying the same thing.
Yeah.
With the same goal. Like, we all want that gold medal, right?
100%. Yeah.
But, you know, the only way that everyone gets better is by, you know, everyone pushing each other, right? So...
And the community in Arizona is such that even when we're in different schools, different associations, stuff like that, like if somebody's alone at No Gi Pants, they're not alone. They're with me.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter what school they're from.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know what
totally
I mean?
Seen tons of that, right?
Yeah.
You know,
so
especially at big tournaments like Pans and Worlds.
Yeah.
Like maybe their head coaches can make it or whatever.
Or got sick.
You're in Arizona, dude. You're going to probably be supported by somebody.
100%. Yeah. And that happens a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and it's cool like when it's convenient, but it's even cooler when it's not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, I remember it was at No Gi Worlds, and I got somebody going on mat whatever, and then somebody else going on mat whatever right behind. But I had already told somebody that I'm going to coach them. It's a different team on a far side mat, and all I did was tell Paul, "Hey, I need you on mat 1 or whatever it was."
Yeah.
And Paul just took off running.
Yeah.
And he just started coaching the guy on that mat, and that's the community we have. I'm not saying we're the only ones, but I fucking know we have it.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. But no, you know, my mom obviously was coming from a biased position, right?
Yeah.
Very biased. And when she said that, it was one of those things to make me feel better, but it was one of those like, yeah moments, you know?
Yeah.
But then when it started happening, it's like, I don't know, reality just hit, you know?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not ignoring you. There's
Tojo's on his phone.
There's a podcast on the Joe Rogan podcast. this boxer recently. God, I wish I could find it. But anyways, he was talking about his mom basically says, like, you ain't shit.
Yeah.
Like in front of everyone, she'll be like, oh, you know, great job, blah, blah, blah. I knew he could do it. But when he comes home, she's like, you ain't shit. You don't got the next one.
Whoa.
But it was like to like motivate.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he's like, I use that, you know.
That's fuel. That's fuel. That's a mom that knows her kid.
You're right.
Yeah. She's put in some time.
Right.
Yeah. Because that's ballsy.
Yeah. It doesn't always go that way, right?
No.
A lot of those kids break.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like
cool.
those aren't the ones that win.
Wow. Yeah. I wonder if my mom would ever say that. Maybe she says it behind my back.
She's like,
Fuck that guy.
What is he doing? What's he doing that ground karate for?
Yeah, you know, she's very proud of all of us, man. She's really cool. But yeah, so you know, with all of that change, I have this really the military taught me this, because you know, whenever you go on a deployment, and I'm sure it's like this for every branch, but in the Navy, other than maybe special operations, they kind of keep their teams together. You know, they splinter off, but for the most part, like there's a core group that stays together.
Yeah.
In like shipboard where I was, we would go on a deployment. We'd be gone 4 or 5 months. We come back, and then, you know, you go out and you do your whatever the hell you're doing. It's circles or in the ocean and whatever. But then on your way home, you hit all these ports. Like you're hitting a port every third day. I mean, it's really cool. I mean, like, you're hitting all these fucking awesome places. And I was on a flagship. We carried an Admiral, so we hit some really nice places, right? So, but we get back home, and these are people, like, not only did you suffer with, because you're sitting in the middle of the ocean and it sucks, right? Yep. And you're doing all kinds of drills and all kinds of live fires and all kinds of stuff, but now you're hitting all these ports and you're drinking together and you're partying together and you're hanging out and stuff. You get home, 30% of the ship's company transfers. Yeah. All your friends leave, right? So I have this ability to just move on. So when I lost my coaches, I moved on that day.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a great moment. Like, it hurt, but I moved on. Like, okay, what do we do now? You know, we lost our best guy in our shop, right? In the military, we lost our best guy. He transferred. Fuck, he knew everything. Mm-hmm. Okay, we move on. Yeah. Right? We figure it out. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're still in the process.
Benefit moping. Yeah.
There's no benefit. I mean, it sucks, man. It sucks. And I went through a period where I was like, you know, you go through the self-doubt, you go through all those emotions, you know, and then you're like, okay, shake it off, man. You got a good team, right? You got strong support. I got everything I need to succeed. All I have to do is execute.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel.
Yeah, and I think it's important to like go through those feelings too, like actually like kind of let yourself feel them. Like, so my partner gets it for me all the time where there'll be days where like I call him and I'm like, let's fucking go. Like we're getting after it, brother. Like we got this. And then there'll be days where I'm like,
is that flashbacks of your drunk podcast?
Yes, exactly.
That was cut out.
But then there's days where I call him, I'm like, dude, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing, man? Yeah. Like, this is crazy. I'm like, I got a mortgage. I got 2 kids. And I'm like, I think I might have been wrong, you know, about this whole thing. And we'll talk about it, be like, you know, man, and he's really good at like kind of talking me off the ledge and stuff. And I tell him out like when I'm going through, I'm like, you know, tomorrow I'm going to call you like ready to work. And he's like, yep. Yeah. And that's when I just engage in the beautiful part of entrepreneurship, which is just like taking advantage of the time. Yeah. Just be like, I'm just going to do some things that I know are good for me, that help me feel good, help me feel better. I'll go train. Yeah. I mean, there was literally one point where in the last like couple months, I was training 6 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because I would get up in the morning, deal with a bunch of shit at work, train, deal with a bunch more shit, and train again, because I was just like, I needed to get that balance. And usually when I'm training, what happens is like, I get to like, especially in the mixed levels, when I'm rolling, I get to like 40 minutes in, and then I just think about the thing that was bothering me, and I can see it so much more clearly. Yeah. You know, like it'll just come into my mind. Sometimes like mid-roll, like one of the things, I don't share this with my training partners a lot, but sometimes when I'm caught in a really bad position, I'm about to get choked out, I'll think about whatever was bothering me for a sec. I'll just stall and be like, okay, let me examine this thing that was bugging the shit out of me as I'm about to get choked out. I'm like, oh, I can see the truth of it a lot more clearly. So
yeah, there's a lot of benefit to that, man.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of self-reflection, it's a lot of introspection, which I think is what one of the things that like stops people from being successful at it, because you have to like first when you have a failure, it's like a series of failures over and over again, right? Yeah. And you know, it's cliche.
Comes in waves, right?
Yeah. And it's cliche, but it's like they say like people only see the success. So by the end of this year, everyone will see like what a great shape the academy's in, how everything's going. So it's so good. Student numbers are back up and everything. And they'll be like, look how successful he is. But they're not going to think about the however many, the 8 months of trial and frustration and and really sitting there being like, fear, deep fear.
I think in a lot of ways that's your job too.
Yeah. So the couple things. So the last 2 weeks ago, we're in comp training, and I was running it, and I just start yelling, "It must be nice." And everybody's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And I just start yelling, "It must be nice."
Who's gonna carry the boats?
No, it must be nice. And I started telling them, it's like if you're doing all of the hard work, and then you go in and you whip somebody's ass, someone's gonna say, "Well, it must be nice. You got all that talent. You got all that talent. It comes natural to you, right? It comes naturally to you. You don't have to work at this." And they don't see you on Sunday morning busting your ass, right? After you had a long week of training, just busting, going through the toughest day of the week on Sunday, the last freaking day. Yeah. Must be nice, right? And that's something that I think about, like, when I see the end of this, this trial that I'm going through, I want people to be like, "Oh, it must be nice. You got it so easy." Yeah. That's going to make me smile.
Yeah. So, hell yeah. And I agree with that. I think it is your job, but I think it's one of the things that people don't think about when they're thinking about being a business owner.
Sure.
And I think what causes a lot of people to wash out is like, it's not just being organized. It's not just being disciplined. It's not like those things are obviously like really key, but it's a certain mental toughness that you have to develop because you're going to fail a lot. And really
that
fast.
Job thing, it being your job is like, as in like, that's a part of the challenge.
That is,
right. Because you gotta like, eat that dick, basically, right?
Yeah.
Because and if you start like showing that doubt to your students, that some students will start having their own doubts. We're like, oh, do I need to start looking for a new gym?
Yep.
That's a whole new other layer too that like I don't deal with as much because I just deal with with clients and revenue, like in terms of like we just do like a lot of B2B and everything, but we don't deal with like the element of like you said showing fear.
Yeah, no,
students.
we're in the people business. I'm in the people business.
Yeah, you're in the people business
100%,
for sure.
Yeah.
And if you get up there and like you're just complaining or being like, "Guys, please don't leave," or whatever, like people are going to be like, maybe I didn't come here for this.
Yeah, I go a different route with it. I always thank everybody for the support because it means a lot to me. It means the world to me.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, just you don't have to be like, cleaning the mats or whatever. It helps if you clean the mats, but you know what I mean.
Especially
like
no-gi people.
Show up. Being supportive just means showing up to me. Like I'll take care of everything else. Like if nobody else does it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But man, just people showing up and people like, I mean, just being on board, man, and trusting the process because we're all going through it right now.
Yeah.
And once we come out the other end, we're gonna be different people. We're gonna be different animals. We're better. We're gonna be better because of it. And we went through a point where it almost felt like you're kind of watching and you're watching from 1,000 feet up, watching the whole thing just kind of run, and you're like, whoa, this is kind of cool. And now you're back in it.
Yep.
And
eating the glass.
So eating the glass. So I heard a guy the other day. It was one of the videos that I watch, and he said. He's an entrepreneur, and going through all the stuff that entrepreneurs go through. And he said, he tells himself, hard completely sucks. Okay, this completely sucks. This is what hard feels like, and then he just pushes through it. And you got to remind yourself, like, this is what hard feels like, right? Because you can't look at hard as unfair, right? That's not productive. Right? Unfair is not a thing, right? It just is.
Yeah.
It's just fucking hard. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not unfair that it's happening to you, right? It's just fucking hard, and you just have to deal with it.
Yeah. Right. I mean, even on like the short term, like, so something more, probably a little more relatable to anybody is like, I like to tell this like to a lot of people, like, especially like right now we're all prepping for tournaments and stuff like that. At Paul's, we have 45 minutes of fucking rounds, and you've been there. It is hot as shit.
Hot
there.
As fuck. Yeah.
Hot as fuck with all those people in there. And there's people who want to sit out. And I'm like, look, dude, you have 45 minutes of rolls. You know what happens after that 45 minutes? You get to go home. You can have dinner. You can get, go have a beer. Whatever the fuck you want to do.
Whatever you want to do, yeah.
45 fucking minutes. It's all you have to fucking dedicate, right?
Yep.
It's going to suck.
Yeah.
And sitting out sucks. And I always tell, the one thing that I like to tell a lot of people is like every fucking time I've ever sat out around, about 15, 20 seconds into that rest round,
good to go.
I'm like, fuck, I could roll right now.
Yeah.
It's just like you needed that like second to like gather your ship. You could do that in the first 15 seconds of your match though, or your next round or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
it's never as hard as you think it's going to be.
No, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And, or like even when you're at the gym and you're like, God, I don't want to do this 5th set.
Right.
I don't want to, like, especially working with Vin, because Vin beats the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I don't want to do this 5th set. And you're like, okay.
Here it comes.
Yeah, you're still going to do it.
Yep.
Right?
And then I do those slow.
Yeah.
I do those slow because I want to feel it. And I want to, like, I always tell myself, like, whenever I want to put the weights down, I'm like, the gains are in these last 2 reps.
Mm-hmm.
The previous, 13 don't even count.
That's one of my favorite parts about a workout. When you're getting ready to tell yourself, there's no one. Well, so you have Vin to keep you accountable. Yeah. But like when I'm at the gym and I'm like, no one's going to know if I don't fucking do this next set.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
And my favorite part is like, yeah, but I'm still going to do it.
Yeah, still going to do it. Yeah, that's good, man. So yeah, I tell myself that. Like, it's real easy. Like Vin, I mean, he doesn't count every rep, but what he does, he has like an internal clock. So these 15 reps should take X amount of seconds.
Yeah.
Right? And if you put the weights down before that, he just kind of gives you a look. He knows, right? And I just tell myself, like, he's going to know, and the gains are in these last 2 reps.
And you're only cheating yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that goes with all sorts of, like, conflict, like, in your life. Whether it's your bills, it's like, yeah, you can ignore your bills. Yeah, but then what happens? They build up.
Yep.
Then they're unmanageable, and then you lose your house.
Yep.
Or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it seems like it's the easy thing to do, but in the long run, it just fucks you.
It just fucks you over, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to face it. You just have to face it. Yeah, man. It's wild, man. That I feel like it's been weird because, like, when we first opened the academy, I had to figure out my schedule, right? Because everything changed. There was no free time, right? So I had to go in and teach in the morning.
And you were still working.
Yeah, go work all day. Like, I'd bird bath in the bathroom, go work all day, and then come teach at night. And we were doing that 6 days a week when we first started because we didn't have any coaches. It was just Chris and I. So then after that, I quit my day job almost 3 years later, and now I got to figure out my schedule again. Like, what do I do? I'm not working, right? Or am I? I am working, right? So I had to figure out, who's doing what, when, whatever. And then, the buyout happens, and then the coaches leave, and it's like trying to redo my schedule all the time. And I think a lot of where my frustration comes from, and a lot of entrepreneurs, I'm sure, deal with this a lot, and it happened today, is when I forget something.
Yeah.
Nothing makes me angrier. Like, you were ringing my doorbell today.
Yeah.
I didn't. You weren't in my calendar. That's all that happened. You know what I mean? And
rude.
Don't feel
I feel neglected.
Don't feel like you're left alone, because there's things that happen that, like, I'll be at the academy and I'll be like, oh, finally get a break. I'm gonna go eat, and somebody walks in. We had an appointment. I'm like, that's right. My 2:30's here. Awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
So those. I think that's where my frustration comes out the most. Comes from the most is I'm a fairly disciplined person. But my organizational skills need some help. They need some help. And I use Notable. I use my calendar. I use Google. I use everything to help me. It's just, I have to remember to enter it.
Yeah.
So I write everything down now, and I at the end of the day, I take all my notes and I transfer them into something electronic so I can keep it all. So that's helping.
Yeah.
That's helping. But I do fumble.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just kind of making adjustments, slowly over time. Like, I've had to, it's taken me a long time to get organized as well and be able to, like, keep track of everything I need to do.
Yeah.
And I found that I have a simple planner that it's got, the day of the week and I can put the date in, but I can just write down my to-do list. And so for a long time I was like, well, I have to write stuff down. I do better when I write things down. So I got this notebook and I would fill it up. But then what I would have happen is I would fill it with, like, all these things that I knew I had to do, and there's no way in hell I'm going to get them done in one day. I'm just not.
Yeah.
And so what I'll usually do is I'll write down, like, I kind of start on Monday and I'm like, here's everything I know that needs to get done. And then at like 10 o'clock, I sit down and look at it and I'm like, what can I realistically accomplish in the next 6 hours? And then I move things around and adjust. And, like, some things have to get done first, but some things can wait a few days or wait a day. And so it's like constant revision, but you have to stay on top of it for sure.
Yeah.
I think, like, that's the way that, and I still, like, will forget things, but I'm a lot better about it than I used to be. I used to be, like, missing deadlines, missing meetings, like, all over the place, because I just couldn't keep track of all of it. But I worked out a system that works for me, and I think that's like
that's fucking worse.
What you have to do.
You like forget you have a meeting.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, hey, where are you?
Yep.
Oh fuck.
I'm on my way.
I feel very bad.
Traffic. Sorry.
Because I totally remembered our meeting.
Yeah. So you worked for, I remember back in November when you went full time, and we had talked about it, and I remember being really encouraging for you to go full time and excited for you to go full time.
Yeah, you asshole.
Now you've been at it for almost a year.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
No looking back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't work for anybody else. I can't do it. I realize I'm a lousy employee. It's not because I'm
a terrible employee.
Yeah.
I'm such a bad employee.
But here's what I've learned in the past year. Number one, I'm a terrible employee. I learned that. But I also learned that how much I admire people from my old life, my old job, who are passionate about what they did. Because I'm really passionate about jiu-jitsu. I'm not just passionate about jiu-jitsu. I'm passionate about my students. I'm passionate about watching their lives change and being like all, great people and seeing new faces and people lighten up. I had a guy the other day. He's one of my warriors. He comes up to me. He goes, hey, coach. He goes, I want to thank you for everything that you do. And this is someone who pays me to do what I do. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to thank me, which
he is
really
thanking you with a paycheck.
Yeah, right. But no, but you know what I mean? But, he says I went from diabetic to pre-diabetic.
Yeah.
Since I started jiu-jitsu.
That's a big step.
Huge step.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge step. Made my freaking day, man. Made my week. That's the kind of stuff. That's why I'm so passionate about this, because of stories like that. But I remember seeing people that were just like so on fire to do a good job, at their chosen profession. And I would sit there like, why do you even like this? You know what I mean? I don't even like doing this. Like I have to pretend I'm somebody I'm not in front of people that I don't even know. And, it's such a relief when you meet somebody who's like real and you can just be friends and they buy stuff from you. Like, oh, thank God. I don't have to put on an act. I can just be an asshole. You know what I mean? But I truly admire the people that I used to work with. There's a select few that are super passionate about what they do, and I'm so happy that they are, that they're in the position that they're in. I couldn't imagine, like in my mind, right, when I was working for somebody else, I couldn't imagine being passionate, making someone else rich.
Yeah.
And but that was just my point of view. Those guys are passionate because they're helping people, right? They're making hospitals work better. They're making schools work better. They're doing all of the stuff that they love to do. And I wish I would have taken the time to just kind of talk to them and be like, what is it about this that makes you so passionate? Because I'm curious now.
Yeah, sometimes those guys fucking are just blowing smoke, though.
I don't know, man. No, no, I can spot the blowing, because that was me, right? I put on an act for almost 20 years.
Oh, because we have like these town hall meetings. I won't say what company I work for. And I'm just like listening to the CEOs and like the CFO and all those guys talking.
Oh
like,
yeah. Well, their bonus depends on your performance, so they have to put on an act. Yeah. But no, I'm talking about guys like just straight up sales guys.
Oh yeah,
that were just like fired up to do their job. And listen, you can hop around as a salesperson and make a lot of money and not really do a good job. You can. Because people will hire you because like, oh shit, you have this many years experience, you work in this industry, fuck yeah, we'll take you.
Yeah. And
then you get a pay raise for going somewhere else. These guys were in the trenches, man. We're talking like cold calls, and we're talking like, lead nurturing and all this other stuff that you have to do. And it's time consuming. Yeah. And these guys are fired up to do it, man. And I admire that, man. I wish I wouldn't have shit on those guys so much, but I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and now you're still in sales.
I am in sales, and I'm still lead nurturing, and I'm doing it for something that I truly love.
Right.
I don't love air conditioning.
I mean, I love air conditioning.
Yeah.
I live in Phoenix.
Yeah. I don't love it until it stops working, I guess. But no, I'm not really passionate about making a building cooler. You know, I'm not. That's just not my thing. I always say, like, my biggest regret is I got really good at a job I don't like.
Yeah.
And I just hope that somebody listens to this and they kind of find something that they're passionate about, and they just do that.
I mean, it's definitely like a luxury that a lot of people don't get.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of people don't have a choice. You know, if you have like 5 kids, a mortgage, a minivan, and, or a school bus at that point.
Yeah, like say like you're like some loser who likes baseball or something. Like,
yeah, well, if you're not doing, like, if you're passionate.
Yes, that was shots fired.
Yeah. The thing is, like, if you feel like there's no way out, you got to do your job, blah, 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 but you're buying season tickets somebody who doesn't give a fuck about you, I'm sorry, bro. Like I got no sympathy.
Yeah.
You know, none. So,
but there's not like any like. It's not like you could just, I'm going to start a baseball team.
Right.
You know, like there's a jiu-jitsu. You literally
Yeah.
can start your own jiu-jitsu team.
You can. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And it's kind of cool talking to the other guys, like people that came up like me. You know, we're not from Brazil. You know, we're American black belts that opened up schools, and we're like, you know, we are grand black belts. You know what I mean? Like, so there's somebody else that gave our instructor their black belt, so we're grand black belts. And, you know, just being able to talk to those guys and talk about what they're going through and understand that we're all going through the same stuff. It's pretty cool, man. It's like a even smaller community within jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's like the community of academy owners.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like that it's, you know, like obviously like John's in there, you're in there, Paul. And I mean, I think it's like kind of a different experience than what most people. It's very weird because like for the last 2 years, jiu-jitsu has been like so much of my life, and I forget that there are people who are extremely casual about it.
Oh yeah,
who just don't even think about. They almost don't even scratch the surface.
And it's totally fine.
And it is totally fine.
Yeah.
But it's weird because I forget that people.
But don't forget, like jiu-jitsu is doing something for them as well.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? They're still getting something out of it.
Yeah.
Not quite as much as you are, right? I mean, you're definitely getting full benefit, you know. But there's some people that they're still getting something out of it.
Oh yeah, and it's not to disparage. It's just like I just forget that like.
Oh no, fuck them. No, I'm just kidding.
I just forget that people are not like just all in on it necessarily the same way. Where some people it's just like I go like once a week and I get a workout and it's fun.
Awesome.
Here's a lesson
Good
for
for
you.
you.
Though.
Yeah.
There's going to be a time where you're going to be that person.
Who goes once a week for a week for a workout?
100%. Like I don't know anybody who's done jiu-jitsu who hasn't had a point like on a long enough timeline. You're going to hit a point where you're like, do I still love this? Because sometimes I find myself coming in and you're just like, am I forcing myself? And then some people quit at that point.
Yeah.
And then some people like, you know, take some time off and then come back. You know,
it's just like any other relationship.
Yeah.
Just like any other relationship.
Yeah.
Man.
And it's just kind of like how you nurture that feeling or don't.
Or like an instructor says something that you're like, okay, that was messed up. Right. And do you hold it against them, or do you realize they're just human?
Right.
They're just human and get past it.
Yeah. Or if you go through an injury spell.
Yeah. That's the tough one.
Yeah.
That's the tough one
like,
because
is this worth it?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, first of all, you realize you're not superhuman.
Yeah.
Right. That's a big one. Right. And then you're like, okay, well, I can't do this. What else is there? And then you start replacing it with other stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it's drinking or food or I don't know, some other sport that you kind of enjoyed, or you reconnect with friends. Pickleball. You reconnect with other friends that don't do jiu-jitsu, that you hung out before jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Once you replace jiu-jitsu with something else, there's almost guarantee that you're not coming back.
Yeah, I'm curious if I'll reach that point, because again, it's like last 2 years I've been in the honeymoon white belt phase,
Sure,
where it's like I'm like, you know, I started out earlier. I'm like, this is intense. It's fun. Like I'm so cool. I'm so cool for doing this thing because it's fucking hard. And like that kind of feeling of just like, do you ever hear the story of like the idea of like a kid who goes to school with like a Superman costume under his clothes because he wants to feel like Superman at school.
No.
And he walks around and being like,
that Tojo?
He walks around being like, I'm like, you know, I've got this thing that I'm carrying around that's like really cool that makes me feel special. And that's how I felt when I started jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
I was like, I do this hard thing. I'm so fucking like awesome. And no one knows how awesome I am, but it's okay because I experience it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was in that full like white belt love, you know, just like full love of the sport kind of thing, or love of the martial art.
Yeah.
And now it's like, as I've gotten to 2 years and everything, and I'm like, I think cresting upon my blue belt potentially, I don't know for sure. Like I've had to kind of re-examine and be like, you know, do I need maybe take a break? I don't want to take a full week off because I think it'd be hard to get back, but maybe I train a little bit less. And I'm curious if I'll get to that point where I'm like, man, I just don't want to, because right now I can't envision that. But there've been plenty of things in my life that I didn't envision I would never do again. and then I end up never doing them again.
I mean,
because they drop.
I think a lot. I mean, I think that's a lot of the reason we lose a lot of blue belts.
Yeah.
You know, you get through that honeymoon phase, and then you kind of like, especially because like you're so stoked. It's something new. It's fresh. Like you said, the honeymoon phase, right? And then it's magical and all this stuff. It's like you just feel really cool for doing something that like most people aren't even willing to try, you know, let alone like commit, you know, 3, 4, 5 days a week at.
Yeah.
Right. And then you get that promotion and you realize like you get to see behind the curtain a little bit. Like I said, you know, like the Wizard of Oz thing, like you see behind the curtain, you see, oh my God. But instead of like, you know, some fake magic, like you see that, oh no, I'm just at the bottom of this huge hill. Right?
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people are overwhelmed by that and quit. You know, I think a lot of people just feel like, well, I made it over the first hill.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's I think that's what a lot of people have to like, you know, start really like, you know, coming to Jesus or whatever, that come to Jesus moment or whatever that a lot of people have is like, you got to like look back at that and be like, I put all that work to earn this. Why would I quit?
Well, there's a couple of reasons that I can think of right off the bat. Once you start neglecting other stuff that's important in your life for jiu-jitsu, it's really easy to become resentful.
Sure.
And be like, this took me away from whatever. And there's also like relationships in there that suffer when you train a lot. I know mine was strained because I trained so freaking much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I went 6 a.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m. And then it was like we started at 8 back then, right? 6:30, and then we started at like
in the evening
7:30 or 8.
I think we had like a 6:30 to 7, and then
6:30 to 7:30.
we got at like got out at 9.
Got out at 9. Yeah,
So it might have been 7:30 to 9.
yeah. So then I would come home and I'd shower, sleep, do it all over again, and then by Wednesday, Thursday, it was like my body's beat up, but I'm still going.
Yeah.
And then we would have a seminar or an open mat or whatever, and I'd go do that. So, yeah, it puts a strain on your relationship when you go, like, too deep. I think I went too deep, too quick. And, you know, I'm very happy that I'm still married. But, you know.
Are you, though?
I am. She still loves me, I think, right? I don't know. She offered me food.
Probably
that kind of helps.
Probably not.
But can you blame her? But you know, she knew what I was when we met. You know, when we met, I was into triathlon, and she came to my apartment, and I had like 2 bikes and running shoes and shit in my living room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I made no qualms about it. That's who I was. And once I obsessed about something, jiu-jitsu was another level though. It was another level. That's all. That's all I thought about. You know, I put BJJ at the end of my social media almost immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird too, like on that note, like as far as like having significant others that like maybe don't do the same sport you do, right? That's when you kind of have to ask yourself, like, well, one, if you're a white belt, like a lot of people are like, okay, you're 30, right? Like this is what you're doing martial arts, like,
right? Yeah.
So it's like, is this just like some childhood whim thing that you're trying to do, like regain your youth or whatever, and then like a couple years? I mean, that does happen, right? People just bail, right? But like, if you know you're going to commit your life to it, you kind of have to find someone who's willing to be like, yeah, this is his life.
Yeah. And
if that significant other of yours either doesn't nurture that, you got to make that choice. Like if they either support it or don't, right?
Yeah.
And if they don't support it, you have to make that decision. Is this sport worth being in my life?
Correct.
More than this person is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that happens more frequently than we might anticipate.
Sure.
For people,
yeah.
because I think one of the things that what I experienced and what I've heard a lot is with something like jiu-jitsu, like when you get involved in it, you do it is easy to get obsessed with it. But even if you don't get obsessed with it, I feel like you still have to be devoted to it. And maybe you were not the kind of person who was ever devoted to anything physical. I mean, jiu-jitsu is a lifestyle martial art.
Yeah.
It's generally speaking, I feel like from my experience of setting the goal to get to blue belt, I had to make lifestyle changes.
Oh yeah.
Over time, because I'm like, I need to train, a certain amount of time each week. So I got to find where that fits in.
Yep.
I need to sleep because I'm beating the shit out of my body. I have to hydrate. Like I have a hydration program now because it's that hard to stay hydrated in Arizona. You know, I got to eat. I have to eat better. I have to do all these things. And so when your significant other sees all these changes, frankly, maybe sometimes changes they wish they had seen a long time ago as part of the relationship, and then they see you involved in this thing, and they're like, well, how come I don't get that?
A little jealousy.
Yeah, there's a little jealousy there, and just a little like a feeling of like, you know, I wish that you would try to spend time with me the way that you try to go to jiu-jitsu at 1 p.m. every day.
Yeah.
And there's some truth to that.
So you buy her gi.
Yeah, and get her. Yeah, you got to get her in. You know,
well, jiu-jitsu relieves stress. You make stress.
Yeah,
and that's
what you tell her.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's great advice. Tojo.
Good relationship advice. Yeah.
But I think that that happens a lot. Is that, you know, it's like, not to like be gauche and refer to one of our own clips, but like the one where what's his name? M1 Combat Academy
Jeff.
guy. Jeff.
Yeah.
When Jeff is talking about how it ruins
Moist
your
one.
life.
Yep.
It does. It does ruin your life. You know, I think it's like, it changes things.
Yeah, it changes everything.
And you kind of do, there's a lot of times where people choose between jiu-jitsu and like the life that they had before. And I think you can make the choice because you're just obsessed and you're running away, or you can say, I'm going to choose jiu-jitsu because I know what it does for me.
Yeah.
And I understand I can't train, you know, 18 times a week, but I need you to be supportive of me doing this thing. And how can we do that? And if you can't, then I've got to determine if you're the kind of person I want in my life.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's a real thing. And in my opinion, I think jiu-jitsu is it's very similar to a religious experience, because you go to a church and you have the community and you have this like gospel, I guess you could right, that's being shared, and everybody buys in, right? And you feel so close to everybody because they've all bought in, so you're buying in too. And I think that's a big thing that happens. I think any martial art, really. I mean, Krav Maga, stuff like that, they're all buying into that system. But you know, if there's somebody, and so going back to the religious experience analogy, if you meet somebody that's super, super into their church and you're not into church, it's going to be an automatic turnoff, right? But if you're into the church, then you start talking, and you start sharing some gospel, and you start sharing, you know, some scripture, stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean, it's really that deep, in my opinion. So when you have a relationship, and this is the truth, when you have a relationship where one member of the family is like really into, you know, religion and the church, and one who is not, that relationship's probably not going to last.
Yeah. Or at least it's never going to be strong.
It's going to be strained. Yeah. So very similar to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, that's the show.
I actually have to step off for a minute, so I'll let you guys go on.
Oh, you got to make pee-pee?
No, I got to call kids.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, you know, those you know, responsibilities.
Yeah.
I got to be a father for.
Mine are all grown up.
Gross.
Yeah.
Kids, who wants them? Yeah, you guys are suckers.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I just got my sweet dog at home.
Dog that sleeps on your head when you're trying to get some rest. Well, I guess kids do that too.
Yeah. No, she sleeps under the bed mostly. She's my little cave dog.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, she's puesses. But yeah. Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to this weekend, or not this week. I guess it's more this week.
I'm stoked, man.
Yeah, I like last year I didn't compete. I was there. I love being at tournaments, honestly. Like, it is exhausting.
Yeah.
But I love the atmosphere. Like, I honestly I love like being wrapped up in like all of like the nerves, the excitement, you know, like the heartbreak, you know, the happiness. Like, I think like you just see so much raw emotion at a tournament, and like anybody who's never been to a jiu-jitsu tournament, like, it may seem like it's nothing, like, oh, you went and did your ground karate and you won your gold medal.
Right.
Like,
who cares?
Yeah, who cares? And on the grand scheme of things, like, who cares, right? Like, I have medals sitting in a closet. Like, I don't ever look at them again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's just talk about this. You come back, hopefully, with you know a gold medal.
Right.
You come in with a gold medal. I'm gonna know how incredibly difficult that was to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But everybody else is like, oh, you're a black belt, right? You should be right in there to win it.
Yeah.
And you got to sit there and be like, okay, stupid. You have no idea the competition, right? Yes. You have no idea the competition. Like, all the sacrifice you had to make just to get there, right? And then the bracket of 71 people.
Yeah.
And then all of the legends in the sport that are now, you know, doing masters.
Mm-hmm.
it's a very difficult thing to achieve.
Yeah.
And for those people that don't do it, they'll never realize,
Yeah.
you know, what it is. And I will say this about last year. Last year, having you there was like my safety blanket.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to worry about, is Amy going to have a coach? What if I'm not around? You know what I mean? I knew you were going to be there.
Yeah.
And I knew if I needed a coach because Paul was too busy, you were going to be there. So it helped.
Yeah.
So you're screwing me by doing it this year.
Well, we go on different days.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay,
you're going to coach Amy on the day that I go.
Nice.
You know, so no big deal.
I'm going to lose my mind again.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
But I mean, on that note, it's like a lot of people don't see all the sacrifice. And they're little sacrifices sometimes too. Like, how fucking badly did you want to have a big fat fucking burger tonight?
Oh, God, so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
But, you know, that's not the right choice.
Right. Yeah.
So you make these little sacrifices, you know, and they all add up, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like when I train at your academy on, like, you know, Wednesday night or Friday night or whatever, and we're like, well, you want to go out to dinner? I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
You know, because it's so easy to, like, you know, one night a week turns into two, turns into like, every night of the week.
Let's just have a beer.
Yeah,
you know, that kind of shit.
eating out every night of the week, right?
Yeah.
It adds up. You know, you gotta say that. You gotta say no sometimes.
Gotta say no.
And that's like, you know, those are the sacrifices. Or like, hey, you want to go see a movie tonight? No, I gotta train.
Yep.
You know, and it's like, you got a goal. You gotta work for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And once you achieve it, hey man, have fun.
Yeah.
Right. Unfortunately for me, I can achieve it. I can have fun for one weekend, and then I got to get right back on it if I'm going to do Nogi Pans.
Yeah.
Because Nogi Pans is the end of September.
To be fair, though, like, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just get it done.
There's no, like I always tell this to people, and I'm total hypocrite because I don't fucking do this. But, like, it is so much better to just stay in shape than it is to get in shape.
100%, dude. 100%.
It's so much easier.
Yeah. I mean, once you get into that rhythm,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you're eating the same way, you're drinking water, you're doing all that shit. It's so much easier than, you know, it's like they say in running, when you run as a group, it's easier to keep up than to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, 2 months ago I was 170 pounds. And now I'm 150. Yeah.
Nice.
And now I don't have to even so like the last turn I was, you know, had to get down to featherweight for the New Orleans Open. It's like after that tournament, even like once you're there, it's real easy to not shoot back up. It's like, have a cheat meal, you know, but then like don't go fucking crazy.
Right. One turns into two turns into five, and then next thing you know, you're eating like shit every day.
Right. But if you keep it under control, you maintain.
Yeah.
And it's actually not that hard to maintain.
I need goals, man.
Yeah.
I need them bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's not enough just to do it for myself.
Yeah.
I have to be.
That's why I signed up for the New Orleans Open, because I knew I probably, well, I didn't know, but I knew that cutting weight would be way more difficult if I didn't have a reason to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's not. I fucking hate cutting weight, but it's the nature of the beast, right?
Yeah.
But you know, I think what helped me, to be honest with you, like stay on weight was all the coaching that I did. That helped a lot because I was sweating all day.
Yeah.
You know, I was hydrating, but I was sweating all day.
Yeah.
So I would go through 3-4 gis a day. You know, just constantly.
Did you see that meme? It's like
fucking gross.
It's like a pie chart, and it's like you know what you expected you'd get out of or what you get out of jiu-jitsu, and it's like there's green and red. The whole thing is green. Red is muscles and fitness, and green is laundry. Because it's so true.
Yeah,
I'm running the laundry probably every day.
Every day, I run it every day.
Yeah,
and it's loaded because there's 3 of us that train. So
between coaching in the morning and training my fucking ass off at night, like go through lots of gis.
Yeah. Do you think?
And everyone listen to that. Wash your freaking
wash
gis.
your gis. Wash your belt.
Yeah, definitely wash your belt.
So let me ask you this: do you think there's a point of like diminishing returns in training?
100% there is.
Yeah,
they're 100%.
Yeah.
Where it is, I think that very much depends on the person, and even with that same person, it also depends on how are they hydrating, how are they sleeping, how are they eating.
Yeah.
What other extracurricular stuff are they doing? Are they lifting at the gym? You know,
are they out in the sun all day?
Are they out in the sun all day?
Yeah.
There's a lot of variables, right? And it's really hard to control for those variables and say like nobody should train 5 days a week or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. I think the newer you are, the more benefit you get from just showing up to class.
Mm-hmm.
But I think someone who is, the farther along your path in jiu-jitsu, you get like purple belt, brown belt, black belt. I think you benefit a lot. You benefit a lot more from like a lot of the extra stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
more
for sure.
so than you do when you're a white or blue belt.
Yeah. You know, do you remember Parker Lapp?
Yeah.
He was here.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he was at the promotion. I saw him today, and he gave me some really good advice, man. When I told him, I was like, man, I feel like I'm slowing down. He goes, lift heavy.
Yeah.
He goes, lift heavy as often as you can.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm telling you, he's 70 years old.
Yeah.
We had a great round today. He almost submitted me.
Yeah.
He's not the same Parker from before.
Yeah, he's like 82. He's like
70 years old.
Yeah.
And he's rolling, like live rolling, not, oh, take it easy on me, my knee. None of that shit. He's trying to kill you.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be Parker when I grow up, man. That's a cool dude.
Yeah, I think especially as aging athletes, I think the lifting stuff gets underhyped way more than it should.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to say it's important. It's critical.
Yeah, it's critical.
You got to do it.
It's 100% critical.
Yeah.
And come on, man, it's fun.
It is fun.
Lifting heavy shit's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Moving heavy shit's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when your trainer is like Mike Myers from Halloween
with a smile on his
fucking
face.
asshole. Fucking jerk.
But I mean, it's so important to do all that other stuff. Not even like to necessarily perform better, but to like for injury prevention.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big one, man. Conditioning your body is one thing, but like really strengthening the joints and strengthening your muscles, that's, you know, that support system is undeniably good.
That's all you got.
It's undeniably good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, you get a lot of like, you know, hormonal benefits out of it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's always good.
Right. If you don't want to be putting needles in your butt,
go
lift.
Go lift, man.
It'll help
go lift.
Boost that testosterone.
Yeah. Lift a lot. Lift a lot.
Aging athletes.
Yeah. Fuck, dude. It's hard for me to say, like, you know, like when I say it out loud, like I'll be 51 this year. Like, I don't know. I'm positive I'm slowing down. My body, like my brain won't accept it.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I feel like, I see somebody doing something. I was like, fuck, I can do that.
Yeah.
You know, but can I? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I can. But I'm still keeping up, but you know, my best days are behind me. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All I can do is hope to maintain as much as I can until, you know, until I have to stop.
Yeah, just hoping your current good days are better than your opponent.
Yeah. 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 Well, those fuckers are going to be 52. So,
yeah.
So that helps.
Yeah. Cause this is your first year at Masters 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually started jiu-jitsu as Masters 3.
Yeah.
I was 40 years old when I started. So.
I started in the adult division. So fuck you.
Yeah, but you didn't have I had a few more miles on the odometer than you did, so that kind of levels it out.
Yeah, but they're all sailing miles, so they don't count.
I ran a lot. I used to run a lot.
Ugh.
Yeah. So on the ship, I would actually run in boots on a metal deck.
I always thought that was funny. Like you see, like, you know, like a lot of times, like a lot of this, the military stuff is like, you kind of have to be an athlete for a lot of that stuff.
Absolutely.
For a lot of it. And they have you in these big fucking heavy stupid boots.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. I was watching something today and I was just like, if they just had like running shoes, make their life so much easier. You can have you know, mid-high running shoes.
That's true. Yeah.
A
lot of the boots now are like running shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fucking they've come a long way. They've come a real long way.
From like basically wearing Doc Martens.
Jungle boots, yeah. They were terrible, man. Fucking jungle boots. But yeah, anyway. So we got local tournaments coming up as well. I really want to make a big push for the Masters Cup at the end of the year.
Yep.
So I don't normally push tournaments at the academy. I let the students know which ones I'm supporting.
Yeah.
Which means I'll be their coach. That's all I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have any skin in the game. I'm not making any money from these people. I'm just there to support my team.
Yeah.
I'm pretty vocal about the ones that I support, and AZBJJL, absolutely I support them. But this time, I don't know why, man. I really want to make a run. I want to win that Masters Cup. I think we can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we did really good at Novice Cup with 9 people.
You know, something that might be beneficial for a lot of your students is, hey, there's also Jiu-Jitsu World League coming up. It's like,
October
if you can
1st.
afford it, do it.
Yeah.
Because there's training in the gym, and then there's competing.
Mm-hmm.
sometimes training in the gym isn't enough. Like
Right.
you got to do those tournaments because it just kind of like prep you to like so your body knows what to expect. You know.
Well, I've got a ton of white belts doing my nogi program.
Yeah.
And they don't have tournaments for nogi because they're white belts. But
Right.
Jiu-Jitsu World League, they
Yeah.
allow it.
Yeah.
So I've been letting them know, hey man, sign up.
And I mean, as far as like non like AZBJJL or IBJJF, like they put on a good tournament. Honestly,
They do a good job. Yeah, I'm not unhappy with them. I mean, they're not as good.
Yeah.
But they do a decent job.
Yeah. There are definitely worse tournaments. That's for
yeah,
sure.
but you know what? The real black eye that they have is remember we were there till like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. That one tournament.
That was the first tournament back from COVID.
I know. Yeah, and that's like everybody forgets to mention that.
Yeah.
You know, they just say, "Oh my God, they ran it." So, dude, they were trying their best.
Yeah. And that's when everyone was like, "Oh fuck, a tournament?" Yeah. And
Jump
it was
in. Yeah.
huge. And it was all on one day.
Yeah.
And because like they didn't know like what the coming back, like some schools closed down,
Yeah.
some like some people like literally went out of business.
Yeah.
Like they didn't know what the how many people are actually going to sign up for it. So they had one day to do gi and no gi.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah, I remember Colin was in the bullpen like at 10 at night.
I was like, I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
I've coached and competed at gi and no gi. I can't stay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
After my last student went, I was like, all right, you guys let me know who won because I just left. I was so tired.
Yeah. That was a long day.
That was a long freaking day. Probably the longest. I mean, other than back in the day with Naga when Naga used to go really late, but this was rough.
Yeah, I never did Naga tournament.
Really? I never did one. I just went there to support.
I don't know if I've ever even been to one.
Yeah. They're not bad.
I've gone to the grappling industry ones. They're run okay.
Yeah.
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 AGF I hear has stepped up their game.
Have they?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I was really excited when they first came to town because that was a rough time for us as a team.
Yeah.
But they came to town and they treated us well. I remember, weren't they partnered with Fight to Win at some point?
I
think early on. I think early on they were partnered with Fight to Win.
Sure.
And then that went away pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, makes sense.
Fight to Win, man. Ugh. Yeah, I think Seth's a little spread too thin right now.
He is, but I mean, it must be making some money, or else I don't know, man. I don't know. They give you like a day to sell tickets.
That Phoenix Fight to Win was
so bad,
pretty sad.
Yeah. Well, I didn't go, but yeah.
This is the most recent one.
Yeah, it was during like a bodybuilding convention or some shit, and it was just like literally a sideshow. It was just like pushed off to the side. They were at the Phoenix Convention Center, which apparently like the fire marshal gave them like some stipulation where they had to have railings on the mat.
Yeah.
Which is like, what the fuck?
That is so dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, put pads down on the well, I mean, having a raised mat is dangerous, but fuck, man. The way the railings were set up, it's like you could very easily like get an arm stuck in there and like as you fall off the mat or whatever.
Or hit your head or your neck. I think if they're gonna do that, if they're gonna be forced to do that, they should have a system where they're using like boxing ring ropes. You know what I mean?
I don't even think that would help.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just makes everybody feel better. Yeah, it's a checkbox, but at least no one's gonna break their neck on it.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So
unless someone leaves a stool out.
That movie sucked.
$1 Million Baby.
Oh, okay. I've never seen it.
It was a great movie.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
You only watch it once, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I fucking yelled at the person that said, "Oh, you should go watch this movie." I called her. I was like, "Hey, fuck you, man."
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
She gets paralyzed.
Yeah, I was so fucking mad.
I didn't have that movie spoiled for, what has it been, like 22 years since it came out? You just spoiled it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Let's
bud.
go.
Yeah.
I don't feel
you
bad
had the
for
one
you.
person in the world who
I don't feel bad for you.
I won't watch it.
You had
probably.
2 decades.
Yeah, you had a long time to watch it. You're
No, it's all good. What do you think about what Joey's doing with Butter Smooth?
awesome. I think it's great. You got a podcast going. What is he calling the podcast? It's no
credentials.
No credentials.
Yeah.
I think I watched. I think I've watched his first 2 episodes. He's really good.
He is.
He is really good. He was a great guest.
He was. Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, I like it's very balls to the wall. It's just like we're gonna sit and we're gonna smoke weed and drink beer and drink alcohol.
Love
or
it.
drink whiskey all at the same time.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Yeah, that's what we do.
So Ed Milet did a podcast a while back where I think he was doing scotch for a while and then wine, and then he realized, well, I'm drinking like every other day, so I should probably not do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Good for you.
Yeah. So no, he's good, man. He's a good. His interview style is really cool. It's very laid back.
Yeah.
And his studio looks amazing. It looks really good. He put some research. He called me asking me some questions, and I was like, "Oh, this is what I do." And,
yeah,
you know,
he reached out to me as well, and then he kind of just put the whole thing together. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very similar to the setup we have, but I really like his the background that he has for the host. It looks really cool.
Yeah, with his with his logo on the back.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Do you think
I'm excited for the Buttersmooth tournaments that he's have, or tournaments or super fights, whatever you want to call it? Like I
they're tournament style, aren't they?
I thought they were.
He's got
super fights.
If I understand, he's got super fights and he's got a tournament. He's got tournament classes.
Okay.
The first one was supposed to be, I think, like 3 divisions, and that was, I think it was just going to be divisions, and then he had people drop, and not enough people signed up for those. So then he converted to super fights. Now he's doing, I think, a tournament, some kind of tournament format, potentially open. Sorry, Joey, I probably should know this. And then super fights, and he has the first super fight lined up. It's a purple belt match. I don't know which one it is precisely, but he's got one lined up. So he's putting a lot. He's investing a lot of his own resources into it. Wow. He's providing prize pools. Like he bought the mats and stuff. Like he owns everything like for it, and he's working with this venue. That's really cool. That he was actually a group that through his real estate brokering, he was able to get them into this location to start like their fitness business, and so he uses their space like for the fight club and everything. And he's putting his own money in to like to provide prize pools for the super fights and prize pools for each of the brackets.
Yeah. Wow.
So he's got like a very I appreciate the vision that he's kind of laid out in terms of bringing money into the sport.
Yeah,
but he's ballsy for just doing it himself.
That's what the sport needs.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is like
what is he doing? What is he doing that's different?
I can't speak enough because I don't know enough about tournaments. Honestly, you guys, Tojo, or you guys probably know. All I know is he's paying people. I think that's one of the biggest things. But it's also like the way that I think his rule set is pretty straightforward, and he's sub only. And you know, when he was on the podcast, he talked about that, how that's really big. And I think that's one of the things he's getting a lot of the people who've competed have said it's like the best tournament they've been to.
Okay.
That they can, so he's getting really good reviews, and he's got a very clear plan about what he wants to do. But I think the biggest thing, the 2 things I could think of is paying the competitors, but and sub only to try to make the most engaging jiu-jitsu rule set that really displays the sport to its maximum potential.
One thing that I really enjoyed about when triathlon, back when I did triathlon, is when you would show up to a well-run triathlon, not bullshit ones, but when it was well-run, you felt like a rock star.
Yeah,
like everything was taken care of. Everything. You know what I mean? Like you hand your bike to someone, they put it in the transition.
They realize that you're the product.
Yeah. And you show up and they have a goodie bag with real cool shit in it, you know?
Yeah.
And if you need mechanic services, if you need air, if you need anything, they had it all. And I think that's where jiu-jitsu is lacking, especially something as prestigious as IBJJF. You feel like a number when you walk in.
Yeah.
Right? They stamp your arm and you walk in, you show the thing.
Some of them don't even have like warm-up areas.
Right, yeah.
Some of the IBJJFs.
That is insane.
The opens typically don't. Yeah,
that is insane to me. That's like so basic.
Yeah.
That is so basic that it doesn't make any sense to me that no one thinks like maybe we should do this.
Yeah.
What do you need? Fucking
it's
need
like
mats?
a couple hundred square feet you have to have. That's it.
But like the warm-up area should be like, it should be big. It should be a big warm-up area. There should be more things for the athletes, more amenities for the athletes. Like, you know, I think there should be water bottles like everywhere for the athletes. Like just fucking take one. You know what I mean? Not like, oh, I forgot my water. Hey, and you're calling your...
That's not very expensive to do.
No,
it's
$3
not. For 40 of them at Costco.
In the bullpen, there should be a giant thing of water. I mean, that you should feel like a real professional athlete when you're doing these, because they're charging you like a lot of money, right? They're charging a lot of money. And I understand they got a big venue. They have a lot of shit. They pay their referees. I love the way they do that. They do it. But like, that's one thing they're lacking, man. You know, I think triathlon, in my opinion, does it the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think the IBJJF, that is it kind of like a organization that's grown so large that it's lost touch with, like when an organization is, especially like a tournament or a sports organization, grows so large, like so many moving pieces, there's so many things happening, there's so many events going on around the country at once. Like, do you think they just have difficulty creating one cohesive product? Because it's surprising to me that you would say that like the that the opens don't have a warm-up area, don't have any of these basic things that like the world, but that Master Worlds has. But Master Worlds is Master Worlds. Like,
Master Worlds has barely.
Doesn't even have it.
So the Master Worlds will have like a warm-up area. It's usually tiny.
Yeah.
Especially for how many people are going to be there.
Yeah.
But they're not going to have like you said, the amenities. Like there's not going to be water or anything like that.
And the dressing. Have you seen the fucking dressing rooms? Did you ever? It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so you can't drop trow because it's just like open and like it's a curtain. It's like literally a square pole like frame with just like black curtains hanging down that everybody just moves. Yeah, everybody just moves and they walk in, and it's like, really? This is like the most prestigious tournament in the world, and this is your product. I think I don't think that they've lost touch. I don't think they ever cared.
Interesting.
I think every rule that I've seen them put in for whatever tournament, I think it only benefits the organization and not the athlete. I don't think they think about the athlete at all. I think the athletes will come because that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways they think, and I mean, a lot of ways this might be true, that they're too big to fail.
Yeah. Nobody's too big to fail.
Right.
True.
That's the reality.
True.
That's the reality right
Yes.
there. And that's what I'm saying about like the butter smooth thing is like, I love that we are having even a lot of these small ones that come up and then fail. It's like if the more and more we have this, the more we'll filter through and become successful.
Yeah.
And the more successful organizations that we have putting on tournaments, the more it's going to start lighting that fire under the bigger organizations. Because like ADCC is doing this right now, right? Let's be real. I mean, the ADCC Opens are definitely not as well run as an IBJJF Open.
I wish they would step it up.
Not even close.
Not even close.
But where were they last year? There wasn't even ADCC Opens last year. Right?
They'll get there.
They're getting there.
Yeah, they'll get there.
Right? And even if you look at like the trials have gotten better.
Yeah.
Like the tournament itself has gotten better. I think under Mo,
ADCC
Mo's doing
Worlds
great shit
insane.
for ADCC.
Yeah, it's insane.
And I would not be surprised if in the next 10 years ADCC is as big or bigger than IBJJF.
Agreed. Especially with everybody going towards that Nogi rule set.
They have the best rule set.
I think it's the best.
In my opinion, they have the best rule set if you got rid of the pull guard penalty.
Yeah.
I think that rule is a little antiquated. It's funny to me because all of their best athletes fucking pull guard.
Yep.
Gordon Ryan's pulling guard.
Yeah.
Right? Like all those guys are pulling guard because they want to play the leg lock game, right?
I understand where they're going with it though. I understand why. I mean, you're closer to the ankles, like, but I understand why ADCC wants to see they want a well-rounded athlete winning, like a good wrestler, a good jiu-jitsu guy, a good leg lock game.
Here's
good
the reality
passer.
though: most of those people aren't good enough, and they're not willing to give up the negative point and pull guard.
Right.
So you end up with these matches where these two guys who have some knowledge of takedowns. Raising my hand right here, like I'm not. If I'm like worried, even if you're like, who really cares about the negative point? Like in the grand scheme of things, you probably can make that up pretty easily.
Yeah.
But like, it's just like the psychology of it. It's like I don't want to give up a point that I don't have to.
Yeah. Do they stand you up?
No, I don't think so.
They let you
give you the negative point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit, I'd do it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, the psychology of it, you're like, why give up that extra point, that point that I don't need to give up?
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
So a lot of times you end up with these matches where there's these two guys who are just collar tying and clubbing each other because they don't fucking know how to take down.
Slapping.
Yeah. Right. And then it's like that kind of defeats the purpose because I think like in my opinion their purpose was to like push the action, right?
Yep.
And like, oh, they don't want a guy pulling guard. It's like, well, that's where the action is now.
Yeah. And I think they'll make the adjustment. I think I
hope so.
Yeah.
That's literally the only thing I don't like about the rule set.
Yeah.
Everything else, the first half where it's submission only, that's fucking
perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah. Perfect.
That's so cool.
Because you can just go for it.
When everyone's fresh.
Yep.
That's when you want the submission battle.
Yep. And you don't have to worry about like, oh, I went for the triangle and the guy passed my guard. So what?
Yeah. So what? Or I went for the ankle lock and he came up and mounted me. Okay. Now I can escape.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a really good rule set. And the more I think I'm very surprised at the product right now because of what Mo did with the World Championships last year.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised that it's not better.
Yeah.
I like when I see a referee with like a wrinkled shirt and a fucked up hat. Come on, bro. Come on. No.
They need to get the uniform thing up.
Yeah.
I mean, but to be fair, the IBJJF throws on these fucking baggy ass like coats on the refs.
It looks professional though. It looks professional. They don't always fit.
Not to the professional.
They don't always fit. I get it, but at least you can iron your fucking shirt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
True.
Yeah, or have like polo shirts. Yeah. Something. Right? Make it look good. These guys have their shirts out. They're fucking wrinkled. I saw a guy with his hat fucking cocked to the. No, it's just like he just threw it on his head because he wanted to cover his head.
Like have a uniform ish.
Yeah. Have a uniform.
You're representing a organization.
Yeah. You're a professional organization. Act like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I agree. I mean, especially for the optics, if you want to be taken seriously, like take it seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, like the referee is a very a very important person on that mat. Like they're your lifeline. They're there to make sure you're not going to get hurt. I need that guy to look professional.
Yeah.
You know,
so you trust them.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll make me feel better, and not just for me. Like there's a reason why I don't support all the tournaments. Mm-hmm. Because I've had some of those tournaments call me and be like, "Hey, you want a ref today? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Right.
I'm not a ref."
That was gonna say they have a staffing issue. I think once they get that figured out, I think they're gonna have less problems with uniform type
Well,
things.
I like what they're doing with the rule set. Like they have a mandatory meeting for anybody who's gonna be a judge or a ref or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
I think that's great, and I think that's like step one, right? Yeah. You get everybody on the same page.
Like I say, they're on the up.
Yeah.
They are
for sure.
Right now, they are just going up
for sure, and they're not brand new.
Yeah,
they've been doing this a while. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah,
I love what they did with the opens. I wish the opens would be more representative as to who is going to go to the trials. Like you got to
use them as qualifiers for the trials.
Yes, I think that would be way better than letting.
Well, I talked
200
about this.
Blue Belts.
I talked to this at the West Coast trials when we were there, and it was like. Each bracket was like 100 people or 100, more than 100 people, and it was like and there's like blue belts in there and purple belts, and I'm like, not to disparage, like I understand that there are purple belts who can win
100%
ADCC
100%,
right?
Yeah.
There are people that fit that niche. They're outliers.
Yeah.
90% of those blue belts and purple belts had no business being there.
Yeah, I think
or more, 99% of them
didn't oh gosh, who am I thinking about?
Kolabate.
No. Liz Clay, didn't she win the trials at Blue Belt?
Oh, I don't know.
She was 16 years old.
Oh, I don't know.
But that's like, you want to talk about an outlier.
Yeah.
Right?
But again, we're just talking about outliers. Yeah. And I was my point on that was that if you're going to, I would say sub brown belt, because it's really hard to because a lot of those schools don't a lot of those no-gi only schools don't do like the belt system really.
Right.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
But like if you're a purple or blue belt, like you should have to kind of like prove that you belong there. Otherwise,
agreed.
You're wasting everyone's time.
Yeah, and I think the opens is a great way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should have to score points just like they do at Worlds. You gotta qualify. And if you qualify, hey, good on you. Yeah. Go get it, man. Awesome. But if you don't,
what do the opens do now?
They're just for fun. They're just experience.
They're just additional, like get experience with the rule set.
It's like you being able to do like the biggest tournament in the world, the biggest tournament in the world's rule set. Basically,
okay.
Yeah. With their logo, and it's just like running an Ironman, right? There's like, there's 35 pros and 2,000 also rans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
also rans.
Yeah. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
And then there's the DNFs. Yeah. Sissies.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
crawl across the finish line.
It was such a shit show, and maybe now that we have the opens, maybe that's what they'll start focusing on, because, like, I mean, I think ADCC, like, they were as far as revenue generation, it was the trials and the championship.
Yep,
that's 3 events.
Yep,
every 2 years, right? So, okay, that's not a lot. Now
I think that's more spending than earning.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. But I mean, like, let's start like making the trials like actually something.
Yeah. I think it would be great. No, well, the opens, right? Make the opens something.
Oh, yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Could you do like opens lead to trials, lead to championship?
That's kind of what we were talking about. Like, that's what we wish it would be.
Yeah. Because right now, the only road to the championship is you have to, well, you can get invited. Like, if you won last year, you're going to get invited back.
Right.
Or you win one of the trials.
Yeah.
East Coast, West Coast trials or Euro trials. I think there's an Asian one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to win one of those. And then you're into the actual ADCC championship. A lot of times the second place person will get an invite too, just depending on the show that they put on and how many spots they need to fill. So it just depends, but
I think there might be a South American one as well.
There might be. I don't know. Yeah. But either way, I mean, man, some of those trials are just that West Coast trials was a shit show.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it was 2 days.
Yeah. Yep.
2 days for brackets.
I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of cool jiu-jitsu. Like, and Nogi is particularly fun to watch because people are just so much more heated about it.
Yeah. You know, and speaking of heated, you watch those guys get in the little slap matches, and that's really like where I think the referee comes into play. Mm-hmm. The referee has to get control of that right away. Yeah. I mean, as soon as somebody slaps,
knock
you stop
that
the
shit
match.
off.
Yeah, knock that shit off. I'm going to disqualify you. Next time I see it, I'm going to disqualify you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you retaliate, I'm disqualifying you. Yeah. And that's how you take control of the match.
Yeah.
And as soon as they do it, boom, you're out.
Yeah.
You know, get as mad as you want. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Meet me in the parking lot. Let's do this. Yeah.
It's interesting that you have that issue where you've got these like slap matches happening, or like you said, like collar ties and clubbing. But then when you look on social media, it's people getting carried across the venue and thrown into concrete because there's no because the way they stop the action. Yeah. So it's like you do have a lot of action or don't. Yeah. Like you do have a lot of action, but you're still having stalling that happens sometimes.
Sometimes, what I love about ADCC is like the audience is in play too.
Yeah,
like they're not going to stop it. They're not going to stop it until you have full control.
Seems dangerous, man. I'm surprised no one hasn't gotten more seriously injured.
Don't get a cheaper seat.
I'm talking about the athletes. That seems very dangerous for the athletes.
I mean, it's kind of like there's a little bit of a you sign the waiver, but there's also like a lot of things that like a lot of people hate, especially like at the higher level, is like when you have a guy who's playing the boundary and you take him down into the boundary and you're like, well, sorry, that didn't count because you're out of bounds. It's nice where they're like, yeah, fuck that guy. If he wants to play the boundary, he's going to get taken out onto the concrete.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Take him all the way into the tunnel.
Yeah, it's just the reality of it. Like, and like, every single tournament I've ever been to has had somebody like close to a submission, getting ready to set up a submission, in a submission on the boundary, and the ref stops them, and they're like,
reset.
I mean, we have to move you.
Yeah.
You know, and then at that point, you can't just. I mean, if you put someone right into the submission, it's pretty much guaranteed. Yeah. And if you take them out of the submission and start them in just like either a neutral position or put that guy, like say he was in side control or whatever, put him back into side control. Well, that guy's like, yeah, but I had the submission.
Right.
Yeah. Someone's getting fucked.
Yeah.
You know. And
unfortunately, yeah.
But I mean,
why
that's
not have a cage? Why is there no cage for jiu-jitsu? Like, why is that not a standardized?
Probably cost. I mean, it'd be very expensive to set up 24 cages.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah. That'd be really expensive.
Yeah.
But I feel like a cage would help a lot with the boundary issue, because then you're just working the cage. And
I like Joe Rogan's idea. Do it on a football field. Unlimited boundary.
Just infinite space.
Yeah. Fucking chasing. We're running away.
Well, there's a whole other game that opens up on the against the cage too.
Sure. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the venue, what the boundary is. People are going to play to the rule set.
Yeah.
So if you have a football field, people are going to play to the rule set. They're going to run back and forth and dodge and wait till the clock runs out and do overtime and maybe, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you could either fight in a phone booth or a football field. People are going to play the rule set. So
yeah, I mean, there's no perfect rule set. I mean, I think ADCC is the closest, in my opinion. I would love to see a gi organization adopt a similar rule set. I think that'd be really fucking cool.
Yeah. What about it? Would you want to see them adopt specifically?
I like that the first mainly the first half of the match is no points. It's submission only, because that's so much fun.
Yeah.
And that makes it more of a spectator sport.
Yeah.
Right? Because no one wants to see a couple guys looking for like their advantage. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And a lot, because most to the casual viewer, no one understands that, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's just it pushes that pace. It's more fun, in my opinion, to be submission grappling is more fun than playing points. Like when you're like in class and you're like, "Oh, I swept you 2 points." Like no one gives a fuck. Yeah, you didn't submit me.
I do.
Yeah. But like playing for sub is fun.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That I think that's, and then I think
playing for sub is why you walk through the door.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's the cool part of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like no one take the UFC. Like no one really talks about jiu-jitsu until someone gets triangled or kimura'd or whatever. Right. It's not like, oh, he held him on the ground. They're just talking about ground and pound at that point. Because even though that's jujitsu.
Or when that dude hit the omoplata.
Yeah.
It was like, fuck, fucking crazy.
That kind of shit. Like, that's when people are like, oh, that's jujitsu.
Yeah.
Right? But just holding someone on the ground, like, that's wrestling also.
Yeah.
You know, ground and pound, like mixed martial arts, right? That's a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of, the submission part is kind of where a lot of it kind of differentiates. And we get away from that a little bit with the points.
I agree, man. Yeah, that's a very good point. I hate that you brought it up, but yeah, that's a great point. No, I also think that there's some things that, like, uniform wise with the IBJJF, I just roll my eyes at. I mean, there's just like, and now they're starting
especially the new stuff.
The new stuff, yeah. I think what's going to happen is just like they did. Remember when it was only black belts that had to get their IBJJF card?
Yeah,
and they're like, oh, brown belts too. Okay, purple. Okay, everybody has to get a card. So now everybody pays $35 a year or whatever. Yeah, so that adds up,
and
right?
We do, and
we pay it, right?
Yeah.
And now they're talking about uniforms, like subtly talking about new uniform changes. And I think what's going to happen is you got to buy IBJJF uniforms. When that happens, I think that I did my last IBJJF.
Yeah,
I'm not going to fucking do it.
I don't think that's going to go.
I will not comply.
You know, the funny thing is like I think they're on the wrong timeline for that.
Yeah.
I think if they would have tried to implement this 10 years ago, they could have.
Yep.
I think right now, there's other options.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that'll
too many other options.
That'll be the straw.
Yeah.
If obviously we are 100% speculating right now.
I think we're right.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think we're right.
But we don't know, you know.
No.
And if it does happen, I do think it'll be a big hit. In a bad way.
In a bad way. Yeah. But once we were looking at those new rule changes for gis, I'm like, yep, they're gonna make us buy their gis.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
It'll be
to have an IBJJF gi.
It'll be $135 a year with a free gi.
Yeah. No shit. No, it'll be like a $200 gi. 100%.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
There ain't gonna be nothing cheap about that.
$235 a year.
Sounds like someone's trying to upgrade to a Ferrari.
Right. Yeah.
Like someone up high up in the organization.
Yeah. I don't shit on everything they do, but those are the types of things that I'm like, come on, man, give me a fucking break.
Well, it's interesting because, I mean, it's just an institutionalized thing. Like, I think that when an organization gets that large, and especially starting where they did, where it's like you said, there was no other option. So it's kind of just been like, come to IBJJF because you have to. But eventually there will be a contender. There will be somebody sometime down the line who will challenge them.
People have tried. There was a NA North American BJJ that was probably the worst run tournament I've ever been to. Ever. And I've been to a lot.
Yeah.
And all over the country. And they partnered, I think they had like a partnership or something with a gi company. I don't know who the hell it was. But they were failing gis going in. Like they were really strict on all the gis.
Oh, geez.
But you could go buy one right over here. You just take your kid and go buy one over there. Man, dude, there were so... Eventually, there was just a wall of parents yelling at the guy checking the gis, and he had to acquiesce because no fucking way, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they can't all be wrong.
Yeah. That's a fucking scam.
That's a scam.
Yeah, that's a scam.
Yeah.
And I think that's the last time they showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a few people that put some stuff out there that
that's how I feel people are going to feel about if the IBJJF does that.
Yeah, with the new with the
like
gis.
Finally the look behind the curtain, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, there it is.
Yeah.
You're just in it for the money.
Yeah.
We all know that. That's
well,
the
I mean,
case.
they're in it for the money. Yeah, for sure. Listen, I'm not shitting on everything they do, but this is going to be a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can be in it for the money, but that doesn't mean you can't provide first-class business in a first-class way.
Yeah.
Like usually if you do that first, the money comes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's short-sighted to focus on the money only.
Yeah.
Usually.
But they've also been doing this for so long. I mean, how long has the IBJJF been around? I don't know, 20 years?
I mean,
longer,
it's very much just how like all sorts of bureaucracy works. It's like always like little incremental changes, and all of a sudden you're like 100 miles away from where you started.
Yeah.
You know?
It feels like it'd be trying to like usurp FIFA or something, right? Like the FIFA organization.
Yeah, exactly.
They're so it's it's the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation. Sounds pretty official. Sounds like multiple countries have signed on.
It is, and if you're not an IBJJF world champion, you're not a world champion. That's not my opinion. That's the perception that people have. I disagree because I think, if you're a world champ, you're a world champ regardless of where you got it, because it's all basically the same people. going after it. But IBJJF it's the most prestigious. They are the recognized leader in jiu-jitsu competition, and I don't disagree with that. I think they are. They are the leader.
Well, I mean, the best athletes do compete at IBJJF
100%
compared to other things.
Yeah,
but that's not going to be the case forever.
Yeah. But I really wish, like I said earlier about triathlon, do a full distance triathlon and see if you don't feel like a fucking rock star. Like I had a mechanical problem. They fixed it. I turned my bike in, and it was waiting for me at transition. And then as I got off the bike to transition to run, there was a person there, took my bike and took care of it. Like, it was all about the athlete.
That was a thief.
Huh?
That was a thief.
No, I got my bike back.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want that fucking bike back after that fucking 112 miles. But no, there was you felt like a rock star. When
what were your entry fees compared to Masters World?
I don't remember. For that one, they were pretty expensive. I think for a full distance triathlon, you're looking at like, this is like 2010, and it was like, gosh, man, I want to say like, $900.
I was gonna say close to 1,000.
Yeah, about $9. I think it was.
It's got to be over that.
Plus travel
per person.
Plus travel, and plus bikes are not cheap. That type of shit. But
you got to transport your bike.
Yeah. But I really enjoy. I was going through a divorce at the time, so I used it as like a coping mechanism, getting through that tough time, and just beating the shit out of myself every day.
Yeah.
And it fucking helps.
It does
a lot.
It does.
Too tired to care.
Yeah, I've been on a bike for 100 miles. I think I'm just gonna take a nap. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're gonna find out that. I mean, I think they're starting to pay for some events, the athletes.
Really?
IBJJF, yeah. I think there's the Grand Prix. Is that part of?
Oh yeah,
IBJJF?
no,
that is, right?
They've been paying out for a while.
Yeah,
but not everything.
So they're starting to have some things, but the more and more that other organizations are getting bigger and starting to actually have big purses for these athletes, people are gonna be like, I don't really care about the prestige if I can get 20 grand or whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, but think of it this way. If you think about it long term, if you're a multiple-time IBJJF world champion, it's going to be a lot easier to market yourself if you're going to open a school or sell a product line or do anything like that. So there are some, but there are some perks to winning the world championships at IBJJF.
Oh yeah, no, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Right now.
Why do you say right now?
Because I think in some time in the future timeline, there's going to be could be another organization that either equals or maybe even shadows IBJJF.
I wonder if ADCC will ever do like a gi tournament.
That's what I'm
just
saying.
Thinking that.
Yeah, if they get it, that's part of my wish about their rule set. I'm like, all you gotta do is throw in the gi, and you'd pull in the other half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, think about this: IBJJF announces that you have to buy their gis. ADCC comes out and says, we're adding a gi competition. Bring your own gi.
Wear whatever the fuck
you want.
Because they won't even care.
No.
Because you can actually wear a gi to ADCC.
Oh yeah, because Eddie Bravo. I mean, he wore that.
There is the uniform allows for a gi.
Yeah.
If you want to wear a gi in the no gi stuff, you can, but you just can't use it like a gi.
Are they allowed? Is your opponent allowed to choke you with the gi?
No.
Wow. So they can't grab like sleeves and shit.
No, you can't grab the uniform, but you can still wear a gi.
Oh, interesting. Huh, I like that.
Yeah.
But I just remember Eddie Bravo wearing like gi pants or something like that, right?
Because he likes the friction.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
But if they were to open up a gi, I would sign up for the first gi ADCC.
100%.
100%.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I don't care where it is. New York? All right, let's go.
Let's go. Oh, we should do that. We should totally do that.
Mo, are you listening?
I don't think Mo listens to this. We have like 13 people listening now, so it's just pretty awesome.
I love your organization. You just need gi, and you need to get rid of the takedown thing.
Yeah.
Or the guard pull thing.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot in the UAE right now. Like you see Gordon Ryan post.
Well, that's where they're from.
That's where the ADCC is from.
Oh, but they're talking like specifically. They're doing like a lot of work with like some kind of rich people out there.
Yeah,
that's I can tell.
First of all, that's all that's in the UAE.
Yeah,
fair.
but
I don't want to stereotype Tojo, but
that's where the ADCC.
That's where it started. Abu Dhabi Combat Club.
There was a very rich person that wanted to see some jiu-jitsu and started that tournament. So a lot of the rule set comes from what he wanted to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that pussy didn't like guard pulling, apparently.
Well, I mean, wrestling's big out there, so I can see why he wants to see more wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, we've been going for about almost 2.5 hours. I'm going to call it. Yeah, let's call it.
Okay.
But thank you guys for doing this. I know it's kind of short notice, but we got it done. Well, not for you. I appreciate you waiting around.
No problem.
Like, it's long notice. I've been here all day.
Sorry about that. Well, listen, everybody, if you love the podcast or if you hate the podcast, just give us a review on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and help support the podcast and order some BioPro with the code is Foxcast. Again, you get $30 off your order. And it's good stuff, man. I can't recommend it enough. I've been taking it for 2 months, and I feel like a different person. So if you want to get in better shape, you want to finish out your workouts a little bit stronger, hit BioPro. Thanks, guys.
Yo.